The scammers online spreading their lies, pumping stocks with dollar signs in their eyes. But we see through the noise, cut through the mold, calling out fraudsters. Truth be told, hey, expose the lies, let the story unfold. Truth be told, yeah, shining the light on the tricks they sold. No hype, no spin, we bring the facts, let the truth roll in. Fraudsters beware, your game's getting old. We're taking it back when truth be told. Truth be told. Truth be told. And the truth shall set you free.
Well, the default intro is working overtime this week because, again, I was too lazy to make a custom intro for tonight. But welcome, one and all, to Truth Be Told. Amy Platinum, how are you doing this evening?
Great.
And, of course, we have the special guest that we had mentioned at the beginning of this week here, our overpaid consultant that we personally hired. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Good. I'm still taking Bitcoin, by the way, if you guys want to pay me that money.
Bitcoin. All right. Well, I do Ethereum. Do you also accept Ethereum?
Nah, no deal, man. I'm out.
Okay. Wow.
That's good to be here.
Yes, and it's great to have you here because there's been a lot of talk that's happened since you made your return, but maybe there are some people who do not know who you are, don't know your back history, and maybe even, why you came back, because you did take a little bit of a sojourn, if I remember. So maybe give a little introduction, kind of explain your reasons for, returning, as it were,
For sure.
after taking a bit of a sabbatical.
Yeah. I'm pretty. God, where do I even start? The Reddit days, right? So wrote a bunch of posts on just a lot of things that were going on with GameStop back in 2021. I was on Reddit as Tobitt or Adabit. And it was just a whole lot of like knowledge dumping, data dumping stuff that I was just finding on, short selling violations and this and that. And I think the scene really around the whole meme stock craze got to be a little insane, just with like think tank, group think. And I started to kind of talk against, I wouldn't say like I was against the whole DRS stuff, but I think the DRS stuff was one of the first things where I said like, okay, yes, this is good, but it's not going to fix all the problems, guys. Like the system is full of problems. And then I was shilled out of the fucking sub that I helped start. And I was just like, this is insane, man. Within like 3 days, like nobody cares about any of the stuff that I did that was good up to this point. Everything is just like, ADO bad. I sold my account and I can't be the real person. So I just took a big break. I regressed quite a bit from Reddit, and it was right around the time the Bed Bath & Beyond stuff was going on, around the time that Platinum was coming in to help with Super Stonk. So we had, I think, probably a couple months there where we missed, being on the team together. But kind of stayed around, hung around for the Bed Bath & Beyond squeeze, made a bunch of money on that, and then FOMO'd into GameStop at 45 because it was also running at the same time. So took all the earnings and the winnings from that and dumped it into GameStop. But yeah, that was basically the end of it. I kind of got out around Bed Bath, and bankruptcy filings come out, and didn't really think a whole lot more about it after that until I saw some documentary stuff that was going on called The Bear Trap. And I reached out to the team over there and just said like, hey man, I'd love to get involved with, from the GameStop perspective. And I didn't know a whole lot about Bed Bath & Beyond, BBBYQ or anything like that. Until they invited me with open arms, welcomed me down to Fort Lauderdale. We did an event down there. They were trying to do some fundraisers for a documentary. And that's when I started figuring out like what the whole thing was all about, and came back, just got involved on X, and tried to just keep digging into what the narrative was. And it just,
so it was more you reached out to them than they came out to you, kind of thing, and you had just kind of stumbled across it.
Oh yeah. So I mean, the actual story there what happened was my wife was watching Ian, in the basement. She's on her treadmill, and I walked by, and I just happened to see they were covering the bear trap trailer. And the first part that I see of that trailer is Ian talking about like 2021, the GameStop stuff, and how it was just this insane experience. And it really was. But the other two documentaries that I did, they didn't really go into depth on like a lot of the market corruption stuff that I was kind of known for with my writing and everything. And that's what I wanted to really start hammering, was that. So if there was an opportunity to do another documentary where they were going into depth on that, but I didn't know how the Bed Bath & Beyond story was so much bigger and different than, what I did with GameStop. And that's where I felt like I just ran into a brick wall with these people. So yes, I did reach out, and they invited me to come, talk to some of the people and meet some of the people. And like 2 weeks later, I was in Fort Lauderdale for the fundraiser. But even still at that point, it was just so crazy with like everything that was going on, and they were very short staffed. And so it was Ian and a lot of these guys that were also like running around trying to, wear multiple hats and get everything taken care of.
Was this at the Pulte event?
No, so
we
that
watched
was
it. Remember, we watched the before videos,
which was the only thing that aired, which was kind of interesting. To
Oh,
me
you went to the newest
the
one?
Art of the Meme event.
Art of the Meme.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
so
went to that?
Yes.
Yeah, so they
Oh.
they invited me down there, but I didn't know about any of the Pulte events or anything before all this. So this was just me showing up to this one event where like I just genuinely don't know what to expect. I don't know who's going to be there. There was supposed to be like, there was talk of like a yacht cruise, a night cruise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they got that level of engagement that they thought they were going to get. So maybe they just didn't justify it. I don't know any of that.
I do know people asked about that, and they were summarily blocked by the event hosters for having asked that question. So sounds like it's a bit of a sore spot.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I'm happy to go into like conversations that I was having there, but most of that reality really hit me after I got back. Now I will say there was one conversation I had with her, and I won't name names, but one of the people affiliated with the Bear Trap documentary and the crew, was a woman. We were sitting down. It was the brunch the next day. So we went down to the Art of the Meme, and it was just a lot of, it just seemed to me like however these guys want to go about raising funds for their documentary, that's their own business. But there was just a lot of what seemed like very unnecessary things, a lot of money spent to get this event up and running, to not make the money that they thought they were going to make for the documentary. And then to find out that the Pulte crew, like the Pulte thing that happened before this, and like there have been multiple of these events, and I don't know if that was specifically for raising funds for the documentary or if it was just like a separate thing that Pulte wanted to do, but it just seemed like there was a lot of energy and planning and effort and time that went into putting this whole event together, not to like make the money that you need to make for something that seems honestly like very, very, very unlikely that it's going to happen anyway. I think, zero, like, I don't think this is going to happen at all, but just trying to be nice. So, but the next day, I had the brunch the next day, and this woman was, when it kind of hit me like a brick wall, I think the fact that I said, but the bankruptcies, the shares that you were holding are canceled. And she just went white in the face. And she said, "What do you mean the share?" I was like, "What do you mean? What do I mean? The shares, like this was the bankruptcy." And I'm trying to be, I wasn't like, I wanted to laugh. Right. But at the same time, this person genuinely believes that there's not just like a chance that this could happen, but like is 100% convinced that this is going to happen. And I went back and I talked with one of the guys.
PP show fan?
Well, I mean, I found out apparently I didn't know who PP was. Like when I was talking with people there, and they were saying like, "Yeah, man, I watched PP Seeds," and I was like, "Okay, I'm just here for GameStop."
What does that even mean?
I don't know what that
Yeah.
means. I'm just here for GameStop. And I met a lot of people there, and they were talking
Influencer
about
name
like
on the internet.
all this stuff that was going on with like MMTLP. And I'm not familiar with MMTLP. Like, guys, I'm telling you, I'm right here. I'm here because of the stuff I wrote with GameStop. And I'm hoping that there's an opportunity to go into depth and talk about a lot of the things that are wrong with the system. And whatever you guys have going on here that's specific for Bed Bath is like,
so it was specific to Bed Bath. That's what the whole thing was for.
The Bear Trap documentary is this documentary.
I saw the trailer.
Yeah,
But,
so it's
but it's supposed to end with them winning.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Well,
So that's
and
where
it already ended.
Right. It's
But,
there's nothing ever is going to come for that. Nothing.
right. No, so that's where I'm as well. Like that
seems to be where the problem is there seems to be, like you said, this disconnect between what the people who are in it want it to be and what they're advertising it is. Like you were talking about how you wanted to have a discussion about sort of these market issues that you see. And do you think that that's really something that they're interested in, or they're trying to work it in there, or does it just seem like that's window dressing?
Yeah. First and foremost, I'm not sure what just happened. My camera.
Yeah, Restream sometimes
this thing
can be a
loading.
bit of a goofball with people's. I mean, right before we went live, I was having issues with.
It's all
camera.
good. So what should I?
Well, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can
I'll
just go and figure out what's with the camera here.
I mean, if you want to leave and come back, you can do that, but we can hear you fine.
Okay. Let me. All right, as long as you can still hear me, I'll wait on the camera for a second. So I think that's the problem. There are a couple problems. One is if I sat down and I talked to anybody that night about what it is that they're trying to do, the documentary, the people who are scripting and writing out the documentary, and then the people, as I found out in the Reddit or the X community for Bed Bath, have completely different opinions or perspectives or hopes of what is actually going to happen. So you talk to some people over here and they're talking about there's a gigantic squeeze, like the MOAS shit, which is where I tried to step in a lot from the GameStop side to say, even at the time when this was all happening with AMC and this was starting to happen with Bed Bath, and all these people are just thinking that high short interest means MOAS. And I'm trying to step in and be the person of reason to say that's not the case. And when you do that, you just get completely blasted. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about this. So I tried to do that here with this Bed Bath thing and figure out how do you go from being a stock with very high short interest to being canceled to then the shares are going to become revived to when that happens, it's a MOAS moment. And people, they couldn't, you could ask 5 people and they'd give you completely different answers. And then there's this other group over here off the other side who has a completely different thesis that, this is well, all this is happening because Ryan is going to reverse merge this into the Teddy holding company. And when that happens, the old shares don't matter anymore. It's all about
because they're going to get shares
equity that gets issued going forward. And it's well, why is the person that I talked to at this documentary fundraiser event white in the face when I said that her shares aren't coming back? Because she believes they are. So it's very, very hard to get that many people. And I think that's the point is as long as you keep saying we're going to win, people believe that they're going to win in whatever their current mindset is for winning. So let me drop off here and see if I can get my camera to
no problem
pop back on. And then, give me just a couple minutes.
Yeah. Because I was also having some technical difficulties when we started out and I had to do it. I don't know if it's his physical camera or if it's Restream, because sometimes Restream just decides it doesn't like your camera anymore or doesn't like your audio setup anymore or anything like that. I know we all have had different technical issues with that. But yeah, I mean,
God.
we're gonna win. I know that because we have a diversified portfolio, and
God,
we got
we're
platinum
already winning.
shilling BTI.
Yeah. We are over the target here.
Yeah.
I have SPY put spreads that should do great on Monday. So.
We won.
Yeah. Well, we've also got some, speaking of that diversification, some other things that were in besides just one thing, which definitely helps. It looks like the camera is fixed.
There
you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, my it kept trying to swap over to my phone. I think the link was on my
Okay,
phone.
so
was
I have a
also-
question. So, like, you hadn't talked to any of these people before you got invited to this Art of the Moon thing?
The only reason why I reached out was because I saw
That's
Ian,
crazy.
and I didn't know Ian's involvement, but I didn't know like how
And, like, you
involved
had talked to
he
Ian
was.
before? Or you
No,
knew him?
no. I literally went to Google and I typed in like Ian Carroll email address or something like that, and I found his like cancel Ian the clothing company or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I reached out and I just gave like a general heads up of like, hey, this is who I was. I wrote all this stuff back in the day and saw you're doing a documentary and would love to see what you guys are looking at. And just based on experience, what I did with the past couple of documentaries, or experience I had with the past couple of documentaries, these are the areas where I think they fell short and what you guys could do a little different. And within like a minute, they emailed me back and they're like, dude, no intros necessary. We know who you are. We set up like a Google Meet for the next week. That's where I met with a couple of the people from the documentary. Again, I'm not going to I don't want to name names just because, but
Right.
I met with,
That's okay.
this is all public.
We
You can
know
find-
who's involved, so you're
yeah.
good.
So, but Ian was there and he showed up, but Ian didn't really talk much about this. And I think my vibe, the vibe that I got was like, this happened years ago. And it was something that he told me on this call that like, he actually read the House of Cards, what I wrote, and that had some impact on him to just be, to do his own research in these types of things and figure out what was going on, like the truth behind everything. And that was kind of cool for me because I told him that was helping me come full circle. Like the fact that I had this spark in getting him to start looking into things, and then meeting him and talking to him 5 years later is helping me like open the door to get back into looking into things. And so I thought that was really cool, but it didn't seem like Ian's heart was in this. Like it seems like, okay, he said he would do something years ago and he's been doing it. But I don't hear him talk about it. I didn't hear him talk about any of this stuff, now going forward. I've still never heard him talk about it. I talked with him very briefly there during the event, maybe a couple of times. And he wasn't just like, yeah, this is going to happen. Like it was just like, he's obligated to be here and to endorse this. And I could be speaking for him entirely and he could be 100% in on this, but it just didn't, or 100% in like as a believer of this. But
and maybe on that whole full circle thing, because I know a lot of people since you came back and some of the like ideas, and you've even talked with me before, that some of the things that you had said previously that, based on what you've learned, you've sort of either amended or changed things. Some people have said that you've lost your conviction that they're part of the cult.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I always look at it as sort of like, as you learn things, obviously your ideas are going to evolve. So maybe you could explain that. What was it that you originally stated, and how, as you've learned things as an investor, how has that changed?
Yeah. And I appreciate the opportunity to get this out. When you're reading through this stuff for the first time, you start off doing this as an exercise to learn and understand on your own. And I think I was kind of like the perfect storm for this person to be in this, because I wasn't just someone who, worked at Wendy's. Like I have a master's in accounting, so I do have a general understanding of the things that I'm reading and that I'm seeing, and I was putting a lot of this stuff together that was very, very relevant for what accountants do and how they see things. But in terms of understanding like the plumbing of the markets and how shares are accounted for and the difference between synthetic shares and phantom shares and naked shorting and you know what it means to cover versus close, like these things that often were blurred at the time from you know reading other due diligence posts to learn and try to understand those things on my own. What I did was I just started going like straight to the source to figure out like, well, what the hell is all of this? Who are all of these independent entities or like self-regulated entities in the market making system that are leading or contributing to like this problem? How can this problem happen with GameStop? That was like the big question. Like, how can we get in this situation where we are? So when I started doing a lot of
at
the
what
research,
point can I ask him? Sorry, at what point are you talking about? Are you talking about GME before the squeeze?
yeah, so I got in. I was getting involved like January 22nd or something like that. 2021 is when I started seeing GameStop go like 40%.
Yeah,
It was like 8%, doubling. I said, "What the hell's going on? This is a blockbuster. Like, what are we doing?"
so you were trying to
and that's
figure
when I
out
started.
how it squeezed. I'm just trying to.
I was just trying to
follow. So you
figure
were
out.
how the squeeze happened, or how GameStop got to that position to squeeze.
No, at this point in time in January, I wasn't looking at GameStop at all. Like I didn't know there was this whole hive or nest of people on Reddit who were like following Keith Gill and going through, you know, like I didn't know any of that exists. I'm just seeing like this one news on like CNBC or something, this one article saying like GameStop again 40% today. And I'm like, what the hell? This is weird. And that's when I started looking into and figuring out like, okay, this is a short squeeze and this is what's going on. And then that led me into the Reddit side of stuff where I was reading through a lot of the due diligence posts that were like 2019 stuff, you know, or like to 2020 stuff that just been there for a very long time. And so I wanted to figure out like what stood out to me the most was like the fact that the short interest was 140% of whatever the available float was supposed to be. And that's where I started asking that question, like, well, how can this happen? Is this like accounted for in options? Is this, is it legitimately like due to naked shorting, or is this because something else is going on here that's obvious? But if it's obvious, why has no one answered it, and why hasn't anybody? So it's like it just seemed like a very crazy story, and that's where I started looking into like how the market, the plumbing of the market, and what happens with the with the shares and where they go and the settlement times and like all the buildup and the pileup of FTDs that were happening with GameStop. Leading into the squeeze. And then when you consider the options that are accounted for this, it was like over 200 or 300% short. And I'm like, dude, this thing is a bomb. This is what's going off, is this bomb is happening. So when I wrote House of Cards, the part where I didn't do a good enough job, I think, of because with the hype of everything that was going on at the time, and I wanted this to be true. And I started looking through a lot of the FINRA violations that were coming out. And I'm seeing, you know, it was a fact that the majority of these FINRA citations that end up, you know, these guys get, you know, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 citations for. These are the most common. It's this mess up with indicating the short sale or failing to identify a short sale indicator on the transaction. But
is this the marking longs as short kind of thing?
Yeah, or like marking a short as long.
Right.
But that's exactly the point, because this goes both ways.
Yes.
And if you look at into the violations, you'll see it's not just like these people are. So that was I think the brakes that I needed to pump on that, to say like, first and foremost, there are opportunities where this is purely an accident.
Yeah.
But I was reading every single one like fraud, crime, you know, and that's I think, because I didn't know how big this post was going to be, it's like, boom, all of a sudden, everybody that has a hunch that this is all corruption is corrupt, and, is happening from corruption.
Right.
So that
Not to
fire is like-
insert, but it sort of reminds me of the same situation where we talked about last week for our stupid tweet of the week, where, you had Travis, would isolate in on, these paid shills who are talking negatively, when more often than not, the paid shills are longs. They're pumping the stock.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it doesn't go both ways. We just dealt with what was it? With the Citron guy, Andrew Left, where he's getting actual criminal charges for potentially, stuffing the
Allegedly.
box on and running a book that was completely different to what he was saying, live on his social media. So it's not to undermine the potential that there are nefarious actors or there are things going on, but you need to have a much, like you said, a much clearer discussion about what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's just it. Like, people don't take the time to, dig deeply into this stuff. Like you were saying, like, when a short is marked long, a long is also marked short. Like, it's almost like a wash, right? And like that, the SEC has defined fines for some of these things, right? Like that everyone gets fined the same amount for XYZ or whatever, that FTDs happen for various reasons, not just because of naked shorting. They happen for administrative purposes. They happen, and then you have the failure to receive. Like, if there's money and shares that need to be exchanged, if one doesn't happen, it's a failure to deliver or failure to receive. And that, sometimes it just gets, a little gobbledygooked in the back,
especially when you have a highly traded stock like these meme stocks are. You get a lot of volatility, and suddenly you have a bunch of transactions, and now brokers and market makers all have to untangle the mess of trades to get the shares to where they belong.
Well, and like the ultimate, settlement is the ultimate, like, and a lot of people will see these FTDs and think that they just never go away, right? Like, there's 80,000 FTDs or whatever, but that can go away in a clip, right? Because that whatever money and shares exchanged hands, and then it's settled, right? That if it's settled, it's no longer a failure to deliver. And I think there's just like a lot of the nuance gets stripped out. Yeah, and like a lot of the nuance gets stripped out by more of like wanting to believe the conspiracies or the lies. So like a lot of it gets stripped out, and then they're looking at it just like in black and white, and nothing about the stock market is black and white. And I hear this fees thing a lot about like the fees don't fit the violation or whatever, but a lot of these fees are just standard across the board. Like they're charging the same every time.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot. Like I find it, of course we look into everything. Like, we fact check everything, and we're reading, line by line the same way that you're talking about. So it's interesting that you're.
No, so that was just at the time of writing that, was like, there was a lot of things in there that clicked for me based off of what other due diligence posts leading into that point, where I think it's this cascading or like snowball effect with the post before me gets 90% right, but embellishes the 10%.
Right.
And then when you go and you do your own research and you're reading through that, you're also doing the same. Like, and as long as I said, well, I feel like I hit my 90-10 mark, then I was doing my sense of due diligence and my justice in doing it.
Yeah.
But that point with the House of Cards was like the amplifier that was, like I said, I think the gasoline for this super stonk movement at that time, when there was no going back. There's no putting this cat back in the bag, and that it went to a new direction. I think, though, even to this day, there was a lot of shady shit that I've talked to I've talked to several people who were in this. I've talked with the Dave Lowers and the Quants, and spent years in Discord channels with these people who still can't get an answer into, like, we genuinely have no idea how it went from this moment on the hook to after that. It was all like reliance on SEC report and how much of that is believable or not. I don't know to this day. I'm not holding GameStop because of like a MOAS squeeze potential. I don't think that's the thesis or the play anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's this like, shorts are still there for 5 years. And if they are, like, I'm genuinely more concerned about the entire like dollar collapsing at this point than I am,
That's
there's
shipping.
going to be some like, there's going to be something, in it for GameStop at the expense of the entire economy type thing. But
I agree with that. I don't think that GameStop, I mean, the reason it squeezed as much as he did, well, he wasn't the CEO then, but they didn't raise capital during that run up. They didn't do an offering at $200-$300 when they probably
And
could
to
have.
be fair, like companies like AMC, where they had to do it, AMC was at a
Right.
position where maybe they were doing bad and they were still transitioning, but they didn't have this ginormous crushing debt load where they had an obligation to take advantage of this euphoria to try and pay down
But
debts.
They could have just
all that
in the sense that they really weren't doing very well then. And like, I mean, they're only really doing well now because Ryan Cohen came in and cut so much of the fat off of it. And but I do
and then took advantage of the price going up.
And then took advantage of when it did happen. That's right. He did. He executed on that, which was good. But I do feel like it's more of a pure play now where like if he has a plan to turn it around and turn it into something else and his acquisition plans and stuff that he's talking about, like he might pull it off. Like I don't think it's like a bad investment if you want to hold it for a long time. I don't.
Yeah.
I think he probably has a plan, right? Like because they put out his new, what was it, $100 billion or whatever it was. Like
very.
I think he has at least a little bit of an idea.
Package. Yeah.
Yeah. So and so I think now it's just speculation.
And to be fair, I have some skepticism about that pay package, but then again, I'm also looking at the Tesla experience with Musk, and so I have an inborn bias on that pay package.
Yeah.
But
Frankly,
I'm just, but I do think it's more of a pure play now than it was, then of course. But I mean, I think I don't know if anybody questions why it's squeezed. I think it's fairly obvious why it's squeezed, and
yeah, short interest plus public interest equals.
Plus the flow,
and Melvin really was. Melvin really was incredibly offsides and tried to,
and then kept going.
And then kept going. Yeah, and he was basically trying to buy his way out, and it just ended up.
And it didn't work.
Kicking him in the dick, and that happens all the time, by the way, just on a smaller scale.
I think that's the big thing is like there was this guy who said
this was just on a bigger scale.
If you tune out all the negativity and all the noise and all the drama, the company's 90% free cash flow. Yeah. He's just bringing up some really good points about GameStops and like this is Gil, had he not been there to talk about this way, it would have been just Blockbuster, silent, quiet death, and slip into the coffin.
Or like Bed Bath, or like a lot of these retail companies that don't.
Or it would have been.
I've seen so many of them on. I don't know if you follow the YouTube channel Bright Sun Films, but these like almost death spiral retail outlets where they just do one stupid thing after the other and just keep.
But that's a management.
I mean, that is kind of where it was just kind of going.
Exactly, though. Amy. That's the reason why I think I would continue to hold stock in a company that, even if it does seem like this crazy theory that Ryan's got the potential to do, like I've seen him do it with GameStop. And could it have been a little sooner? Yeah. Could there have been, were there opportunities where I think they probably were going down the wrong direction because, like the NFT deal, or maybe they learned a lesson there that is valuable.
But he wasn't the CEO then either. He was just the chairman at that point.
Exactly. So
NFT marketplace.
But who else made that mistake was Mark Zuckerberg with Metaverse. Like, you try things and it doesn't always work out. Like, I mean, they're under a microscope, I guess you can say, but like, because of the retail following, but I mean, you try things, but
that's my bottom. That's my bottom line with them is like, and I actually had a space call with someone earlier today, Bad Robot, which it's a very cool guy, very easy to converse with him, and we're talking about like this next step. If you have a bunch of people in the United States that are used to seeing these big name brands like your Best Buys and your Kohl's and your Macy's, and just stores that represent good old school 80s, 90s, early 2000s Mall of America type things. If there's someone that could go in and do it and find a way to streamline and put them into an e-commerce platform, that's not going to be an immediate competitor with Amazon, but would help provide options for people who are currently only going to Amazon and still feel like they could purchase something from Best Buy or whatever and be, still contributing to an American company. I would put that in with right in the middle of his, skill set to be able to do something like that and pull it off.
And he might. And so that's what I'm saying. I don't think any of these plays are short. And I said this back then, right? When something like this happens with GME, with a squeeze like that, right? There are things put in place to make sure it doesn't happen again like that, right? But I know people who have been trying to short this market all year, right? And they're just getting blown the fuck out. And now they're on top, right? Now that this war's starting and the market's dropping and blah, 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 blah. But shorts get blown out all the time, right? You get on the wrong side of things. It's not to the scale that GME was. And I would be surprised if we see something like that to that scale
ever again.
Right. Yeah. Because
well, I mean, you have
they're not compliance. The compliance, the risk officers are all over it. There's compliance. There's this, there's that. To get that offsides as Melvin was, I think is probably pretty good.
Not just that offsides, but to have retail investors with so much liquid cash because of COVID. Checks.
Right. Or so much interest because everybody was stuck at home, right? Mm-hmm. So you're stuck at home. What's this guy with the red bandana on YouTube? Let's check this out, right? But now people are back to work and they don't have the time to do that. But, and I think...
And don't have all the extra money either now with inflation. And
when I said this, and I said this, a lot. I think that GME squeeze, permanently, changed... I don't want to say fried some retail traders' brains, but I do feel like that. And they're two wires are touching that shouldn't, because some of these people are BBYQ company is gone. It's bankrupt. Shares canceled, gone. Form 15.
Speaking of which,
they have spaces all the time about how.
Speaking of which, that you would getting back to sort of this topic we were. I think it was a really good conversation to have, but you had mentioned you'd had conversations with some of these people. Who all did you actually get to talk to, and do they all kind of sort of have that, like you said, the glazed look where they kind of go white when the truth is spoken to them and they just can't?
No, it reminds me of the GameStop crowd, because there were a lot of people there who I think just wanted the truth. And I think Ian was that way. I think Ian just wanted to know, 3 years ago, getting into this is this completely, it's more plausible at that point because you don't have the cancellation of share. You don't have the developments with bankruptcy. And I think getting involved to be a seeker of truth, because if this does happen the way that they're saying it does, it's legend. It's this completely different, this never happened before. And it would be amazing to have all that information and do a documentary for it. But when I was there with people, it was either 33, 33, 33. And then I felt like I was the 1%. So it's you get 33% of people who are solid convinced that this is not a speculative thing. This is a certainty. And that was where I started to get some of the dangerous vibes from even the GameStop stuff back when Dr. T stepped in, and it was all DRS purple circles, DRS purple circles. And I tried to say, guys, think about what would happen if you have all of your shares locked up in DRS and it takes 5 days to get those back into an account where the squeeze is over.
Yeah.
Well, you can sell from ComputerShare, just so you know. You can set limit orders and sell from there.
Okay.
Other transfer agents, you can't though. So it's valid because not every transfer agent is like that.
Well, just before I
And we
forget,
did
like,
learn something from the AMC experience, that there is one good use for DRS. You get actual postcard notice instead of having to wait for your broker to give it to you.
just before I
That's
forget,
about
you asked earlier about like Ian, and like Ian wasn't in this before Pulte Fest 2. Like
No.
he wasn't at Pulte Fest 1. No one ever heard from Ian. And then they basically, I think he was on a space.
It was after shares were canceled.
It was after shares were canceled. It was after Plute Fest 1. So it was almost a year after Plute Fest 1. And I think he was like on a space. They got him into a space or something. And PB was on there, and Pulte, I think, and Pulte was like, yeah, you should come, and like, don't worry, I'll take care of everything, right? Like, I'll pay for your flight, I'll do the blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, I mean, if it's free, I'll go. Sure. Right? He's like, but if I have to pay for it, like, I don't have the money to do that or whatever.
Well,
so they paid for him to come out, and that was his first involvement in this, and that was long after this all started. So
like
that feeling that he wasn't like 1 foot in, 1 foot out was completely legitimate.
You can give some more context to that, Platinum, because I know you had a space or a Discord discussion that, you know, some douchebag leaked onto the internet. I don't know, but with him, what was like some of the stuff, like how? Well, he didn't even. The way you made that sound like when you talked about it with us was that he was pretty clueless.
Yeah.
Well,
am I wrong to characterize it like that, or is it?
I mean, he was about what actually happened. Oh, can you hear me or no?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. He was clueless about like what actually happened, and I thought that he was doing the call to get more information about what actually happened, because he said that he was doing this documentary about it. And so I did give him links and everything else to look at, but apparently that didn't really go anywhere. And I mean, it's not like I can make somebody look into something. So,
well, I mean, for whatever it's worth, again, like I think the buckets of people were the same. I think there were people who just wanted to know what the truth was going to be. The truth is the truth, and they were able to handle whatever the truth was going to be. I feel like that was 33% of the people that I talked to were like, at this point, I'm in this ride. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But they're not doing their job, keeping the rest of the community in check with expectations. And that's where I came in. Like, I don't know what bucket I'm in, or if I am really the 1% that I'm like, that's like, no, this is not something for me.
Yeah, you're the 1%, believe it or not.
I was just trying to figure out, you know, what's going on. And then there was 33% of the people who have been, I think, coaxed or maybe manipulated or somehow deceived by someone that they knew, like my spouse was doing this or has talked me into doing this. And, you know, I had a friend of mine that I trust with all my heart, and he got me into this and said like, no, man, you need to be in this. You need, this is the thing. And those people, when I sat down and I had conversations with them, and I asked them the same questions, like what I knew at the time, what I was limited but in knowing is like bankruptcy started, shares were canceled. There's nothing that's changed since then. And I kind of stuck to that wording because I believe that's 100% of the story, right? That's what seemed you know, obvious to me. And these people didn't know how to explain why the shares being canceled would change, or they were waiting on something, or they say like, well, I don't know, man, but there are people out here that have all figured out and I trust them. So that was the other 30% of the bucket. And then you have the people who were just loud and angry and like would not entertain any sort of conversation about like, well, what about, you know, B happening or C happening? And that was like this X community that.
Yeah. Why don't you kind of go into that? Because you started trying to like interact with them to kind of understand the situation after, I assume, the meetup. And that's where things really melted down for them.
Yeah, so that's what I had. I went out, I did the documentary, or I did the meetup with the guys doing the documentary and the fundraiser, and that was a fun event, weird, but you know, it was fun, and I appreciated them giving me the invite, and they did treat me, you know, really well when I was there. But the next day at the brunch, just kind of I stayed there for a long time. I did talk with some people. We had good conversations, you know, not necessarily directly involved with the documentary or Bed Bath or anything like that. Had good conversations. And I stayed there pretty late until maybe like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And I got to have a conversation with Ian, and Ian, you know, it's just like, how can we do this? How can I'd like to start writing some stuff about like finances again and stocks, and like what would be helpful to you. And he was just telling me you need to start streaming, like stream. And then, cause it's easier for me to take clips of things that you're currently doing, and I can just quickly plug it, and I'm not having to read through pages and pages of stuff. So I was like, oh, so that's a cool idea. So I wanted to get back involved with this and doing, just very basic like accounting info for people so that they can have an understanding of what, like, before I sign up for this loan, and I think 5% is a good rate, what is that going to look like? Like, people don't understand the concepts of like compound interest on loans when they sign up for them. And I've always wanted to do this to try and like teach, if I could teach to 1,000 people how to like understand how to make better choices when taking loans or taking a credit card, and had just like a little, you know, small YouTube channel, then that would be like a home run for me. I feel like I could, you know, I don't want to monetize it. I don't have to get money for it. I like to talk. I like to teach. And I feel like that's something that I could do a service doing.
You wanted to help.
Yeah, I just wanted to help. And so I thought, well, okay, I've kind of had that thought in the back of my mind. And then I'm talking with Ian about this stuff, and I'm like, cool, I'm just going to go ahead and start streaming. I said, but I really need to understand whether I can even advocate for the Bed Bath story. And I don't know where to start, because there's, you know, everybody I try to talk to be like, oh man, well, you got to go back 3 years ago and figure out what, you know. So, well, okay, well, who do I talk to? Who do I get involved with? And that's where everybody almost immediately pointed to Jake. Like, you got to go talk to Jake. You got to talk to Jake. And then Sal somehow slithered his way in to like meet me before.
That is a great description for Sal.
Yeah, I don't know. He just popped up, man. He just popped up. He was like, okay, people were talking about Jake and all the things that Jake was doing, but then Sal and Mags were all of a sudden like the
right there.
Were the fucking
Sounds
people
about
from
right.
Harry Potter, the people who are like signed the blood pact with Voldemort, and they can just apparate and like appear like right in front of you. It's like Sal and Mags were these people that were, you know, like there to help, you know, explain like the high level stuff without Jake being involved. And so anyway, he was sending me like a whole bunch of these Spotify links that he was doing. I'm like, I can watch one specific Spotify podcast after shares were canceled, and somehow after an hour and a half listening to what they're saying, it's good news. Like, the shares just being canceled after the time I got done listening to this podcast, somehow they're hype and bullish about this being good news. And I don't understand why. So I'm like, I got to talk to, and that's when I was just telling them, like, dude, look, I just want to set up a time. Let's talk, you know, like on a space call, you guys can walk me through this. And they very much did not want to have, hey, what's up, man?
I have the best trigger finger ever.
I was like, I got a second. It's all right. I'm like, oh, okay, crap.
So, we're just talking here, but I want to give you the setup here of when we get to. I'm going to let Adabit finish, and then we'll transition over. But we need you, since we're going to be LARPing as the GameStop board of directors tonight. I need you to come up with a funny bullshit title that is your job on the. And you can go down there and you can click edit on your name and add whatever title that you want to add. I am the head of macro. 2 people in this room will get that joke. Amy is the chief shield strategist. Platinum is Merger Monday specialist. And Adabit is our overpaid consultant. So
That's usually my line. Yeah.
We'll find it for you. But no,
we can have 2 overpaid consultants, and then we could be a real company.
We'll be Boston Consulting then.
We can be the old GameStop board.
Yeah.
So go ahead and finish where you were at.
No, that was basically like how I got involved with the X community, and then the craziest freaking thing was. Like with GameStop, I think you could go into the GameStop. Wait,
sorry, Adabit, did you say, like, explain to me how your shares being canceled are bullish? Like, did you ask them that?
Yeah.
And they
You
got
go
pissed,
to my
right?
X history, like you can read through all the stuff from
Because I didn't
2
hear the
months ago.
space you were in. I knew you were having one, but I didn't
No,
listen.
no,
I
no.
can't.
I
Hard
was
for me to listen to
asking.
them.
I asked these questions in several like ongoing X posts that I had where I was just getting blasted to like oblivion. Like I'd have
Yes.
3 people in there that would recognize something I was saying, but nobody wanted to speak up because I'm getting hit by like 4 other people
Yes.
that are like, dude, you just got to do the research. You got to read everything. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
but I'm not agreeing with the research that you're saying because the
That's not what
conversation
it
that I had,
says.
the conversation that I had in the space call was like, I was looking at a very similar bankruptcy with a company called Zumobi. And Zumobi was very, very similar in the terms of, like they both had Chapter 11. They're both very limited for reorganization. And I just wanted to walk through because up to that point, both like shares canceled in this one, shares canceled in this one. And I said, okay, so here's where we are. This bankruptcy ended up going through where shares were never redeemed, even though the language was the same. And then I want to start here with your bankruptcy where the language is the same and explain to me, one, can we agree that we're looking at similar language and wording? And then I asked that question. I thought it was going to be very similar, like, yes, I could see the difference or the similarities, or no, I can't. And then it was like 20 minutes of Jake just saying, I don't think that these bankruptcies are even comparable because in this situation with Bed Bath, I believe this is what he said. He's like, 13% of the bondholders held the majority of the bonds. And
Makes no sense.
I'm like, okay. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, I didn't know that, but he's like, he goes on.
But also, like, how does that even work? Like, what are you
Right.
saying?
I don't know.
13%. Yeah.
This is the
What?
part where I'm like, this guy has looked at this stuff for 4 years, and I'm wanting.
No, he literally just made that up. That's nowhere.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well,
a made up. Obviously, like
Yeah.
that makes no sense.
He's also
Well, he'll
tell you
really
himself
upset
that he
he's
hasn't
at the
followed this
first
bankruptcy.
event and completely.
Well, I mean, let's just start with the fact that they don't understand that a company can liquidate in Chapter 11.
Well, so
and that
hold
they
on.
think
Well,
there's
I
2
want to
separate
answer your
bankruptcies.
question.
No, it triggers
I
me.
want to answer your question specifically.
Yeah,
Amy,
go ahead.
where, like, did I ever get to the point where I was asking them questions like this? And it was the very last, like, because he'll say 1,000 things, and I'm like, I
Yes.
don't know where I need to respond.
That's the
But
point.
for
That's
me,
why he
I'm
does
not
that.
back.
Jake,
I'm not
the
back
Gish
at my.
Gallop machine.
I'm not past my point A yet. So there was a conversation like the last 10 minutes of that space call where I was just like, okay, we understand that it says shares are canceled. Where are you seeing that can be undone? And they're like, it's all over the allowed interest section.
Yeah.
It's the allowed,
Yeah.
it's how it's defined.
not.
And I'm like, can you show me what you're looking at? And Mags was being real smart and snippy and like, do you want me to read it for you? Do you want me to read it for you? I was like, yeah, kind of. Where are you seeing that this is allowed? And then the explanation that they gave had me so mentally fucked up, like
Mhm.
that I can't even wrap my head around my next thought, let alone what you just said to make sense for the question that I just asked.
Well, that's the point.
That's
That's
the
all
point.
they do.
And that's what they
Just
said.
talk you
We're
in
like,
circles.
the fact that equity is still considered allowed interest because it's listed in the allowed interest section. And I'm like, but up here it's canceled.
Mhm.
Right.
They're like, but it's still there. I was like, yeah, but so was Zumobi. Back to the point that I asked 5 minutes into the conversation. Are we in agreement?
Well, they've
And that's
seen
where
other bankruptcy plans. Like some of them got into Joanne before they got canceled with no distribution. Some of them got into Party City, a whole bunch of them, because they didn't believe that the bankruptcy plans actually
Spirit.
meant that they were going to be canceled with. Exactly. Spirit Airlines was another one. Like they were buying bankrupt companies.
They
on
are
purpose.
cultivating an
Yeah,
investment
it was like bankruptcy as a
of
service.
just bad investment
Yeah.
companies that are going to zero. It's
Yeah,
Because
it's
they
like
weren't learning
wild.
from the first one.
The shell
right?
of the Australian version of Toys R Us.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's right. Toys RF. Yep. Which is now.
wait, who was
We
doing
had,
this?
we had
Not
someone
anymore.
still. There
Companies
was somebody still buying Blockbuster shares that were only available in Canada, like for no reason whatsoever, and he was buying them like crazy.
Who was
Yep.
who was buying them?
And
Megs.
his name was Chad. Oh, who was buying the bankruptcy companies? The
A
entire
bunch of them.
Yeah, the entire BBYQ crew. There was somebody who bought
Yeah,
Sears.
yeah, that is
There was
exactly that right
somebody
there.
who bought Sears.
There's
and
someone who's still waiting
to
for
this
Sears
day
payout.
believes he's going to get paid from Sears.
Yeah.
Because of some and here's why, because of some, what was it, like Rule 360 something, I don't even remember
The
what
tax
it is.
code. He's
The tax
confusing
code.
tax
He's-
code
Oh,
with
yeah,
I
tax
brought that
law.
up too, and
But they
I
don't
could
know
not-
that the company, like they think that because it's Chapter 11 that it is a restructuring, and that there
Right.
are 2 bankruptcies that happened here, a liquidation and then a reorganization. And so they believe that their shares are going to come back through this other reorganization plan. They don't understand that it started as a reorganization and went to a liquidation.
That's
They don't get
the
it.
definition
Because they're like,
of-
it's not a Chapter 7. And I'm like, right, you can liquidate under Chapter
Doesn't
11.
matter.
They don't get
the
it.
very first
only
sentence
difference
in
is
the
who's in
bankruptcy
control of
plan where it
liquidation.
says, we, the debtors and our affiliates, seek to reorganize as a company to relieve ourselves from the burdens we have with our
Right.
creditors. That reorganization is done.
Mhm.
Right.
It's already happened. You've reorganized. DK Butterfly is this reorganized
The
company.
reorganized debtor. Yes.
And that's the part that there still is like, no, but there's more. And it's like, no, guys.
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, I mean,
Well,
the
then don't even get started on like Ryan Cohen being listed as a co-debtor, like
no, it's from no, like
litigation.
Right.
This
look,
is like
I-
such a deep rabbit hole. Like
I reached out.
unbelievable.
I had 2 different bankruptcy. One was a legit bankruptcy tax attorney. The other one was a specialist in Chapter 7, Chapter 11 that is retired a few years ago. I didn't pay these people anything. I managed to get in contact with them. They didn't want to be like put on blast for their opinions on everything here, but that was kind of what sealed the deal. In addition to me, just like Michael Goldberg was nice enough to message me back for a couple days straight. And
Yeah, he is super nice.
We've all
We
messaged
originally were
him.
possibly going to have
Yeah,
him
we've
on
all
the show
messaged him, and
until the hate
he's very
got
nice.
too big that he's like, actually, my lawyer said I should probably just set this out.
Like, so it shows you Jake could have messaged him at any point and got his answers back whenever he wanted. Like, if
I
he
know.
actually
And it's
had a
why they
question
tell members
about
of
the
their
interest,
cult
he could
not
have just
to
asked.
message him anymore, because
But I
it
think
only
that's the whole point, is that we've had to
Right.
go so far into playing their game to prove them wrong that why are we even playing anymore?
Yeah.
And that's where I had to finally just say, like, you know what? Even when I respond on something GameStop now, because I didn't know how shit X was about all this stuff, where people just literally exist just to talk about how
Yeah.
terrible people are who hate against BBYQ. I just had to be like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I literally
Start
blocked like
blocking.
100 people.
You have to block the whole BBBYQ phrase from your Twitter.
Yeah.
That's what
So,
you gotta do.
so that's where I started to like get some peace and some sanity again, and just get back into kind of some of the game stuff.
I mean,
Yeah, 'cause
and
stocks that actually
and
trade
I mean,
good times.
Platt and I know all about it. We've
Oh
been
yeah.
on the
right.
other end of that wrath, and I came into all of this through talking about AMC. So, and then
Right.
it's
So
just kind of gone on from there. So we've all felt exactly what you
All
feel.
felt it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have our
running
redneck CPA, awesome, excellent, who
Kevin.
also has experience in mergers and acquisitions. So we're going to have some actual real fun here. So I would like to bring this meeting of the GameStop shill board of directors to order. Our first order of business is making everyone millionaires, as Tony Dodaro.
What's up, future millionaires?
Future millionaires, exactly. However, we're going to keep this roughly.
Does anyone have
grounded
a really
in logic.
terrible theme song to play?
You
Does
know,
PPC
no, I did
have a
not.
theme
I-
song?
Love that.
well, no, it's not GameStop related. So no, I was gonna say I actually made a short song of one of the responses from the plan administrator to Addo, but I'll just leave that.
So I want to take this time as the chair of our board and head of macro at GameStop to briefly state that we have no affiliation with this fucking shit coin that's going around. There was a
Oh, is
GameStop
that
shit
new?
coin, and now there's a roaring kitty token. I would like to say
Oh.
out front, as the chair of this board, of this fake board of directors, the shill board of directors, that this stay the fuck away from it. I don't even know what the fuck this is. Go away.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rug.
I looked
we
into
would-
I looked into this for a little bit to
Mhm.
see just if we have like any understanding of the origination of where the GME or GameStop coin, whatever, came from, and it's a dark hole.
I bet it is. Let me get
As
everyone
is
on
all
there.
crypto.
Okay, we'll
Oh,
just
no.
do it that way then. That gets everybody here. Okay. Or wait, yeah, we got everybody. Cool.
Yeah.
I was trying to see how we can work this best. Let me see if we can
This works.
make. Well, I'm trying to make the size a little smaller so we're a little bit more economical with
now
our
we're
space, so
smaller.
people can.
Mhm.
There we go. 15%. I like it. I like it a lot. We'll run with that. So after that, I'd also like to say that fucking Teddy Holdings has nothing to do with the beginnings of anything. I
Well,
have
Teddy
this
Holdings
directly from our CEO.
LLC is connected to Ryan Cohen.
Mhm.
Teddy Holdings
.com.
Inc.
Has none.
has no connection to RC.
No. The website, I mean, like I sent it to Platt when I saw it. I was like, I mean, the website actually looks real. I don't know if it's real. I haven't dug anything into it. I just like clicked
Yeah, it
on
looks real. And it's been, I checked the domain. It's been up since 2023, I believe.
Yeah, but they're not the same.
No.
So you're there, and I like when I sent it to Platt, I'm like, oh my god, these people are probably shitting their pants right now.
Yeah. So teddyholdings.com is not fake, but he's correct that it's not connected.
No.
Okay. Just for well, I mean, it's it people asserting that it is.
You're not getting your Kiretsu, which is illegal in the U.S. anyway.
Yeah, sorry. And also, if RC wants to IPO it, there's no S1 filed, so
Yeah,
who cares?
I really
next
think
things that I.
Oh, it's just a really quick note. I talked about this earlier today too, but like if there was some sort of conglomerate that was being planned and RC really wanted to take a bunch of these, American retail companies that were on the verge of bankruptcy and try to find a way to synergize logistics and build an e-commerce platform. I think maybe that might have been what Teddy was for back in that day. Maybe he wanted to start that with Bed Bath, but the deal went south. I don't think he saw the value in there anymore, realized he couldn't, influence as much control as he had at GameStop. And that it just never evolved beyond that. Or it could have just always been, this is the book publishing shell that's going to hold these books that I've had, and it was never supposed to be anything more than that. But it's interesting. This is something.
I actually think he probably would have been kept making books if these weirdos weren't so weird about it.
Right. If they weren't
Yeah.
so nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other
For
thing.
sure.
So after that, I'd like to go through some of the speculations that were going on, and us on the board can vote yay or nay. Before we get to our what I plan to do is, as long as we have time, is we have Running with Bears here that has sort of, well, before we actually get into maybe some of these speculations, maybe Running with Bears, like you've had some experience with like smaller level M&A, like what sort of things should we be looking at? What sort of a framework a company goes into when it's doing M&A?
It's a really good question. What I sorry, I really
the
can't
infamous that was that's a tagline there.
help myself.
Who says
no,
that? Who says that?
Me.
I forgot.
Running says that.
No, Running says that. Okay. I was like,
is
somebody says
me.
that all the time.
That's his tagline.
My tagline. No, we're all here to learn. Yeah. No, so like
Exactly.
It's typically when you're gonna buy something. In terms of sports stuff, I like to kind of relate business things to it. So if I'm going to buy companies, I already have existing companies. I want to buy companies that kind of supplement what I already do well, right? Like if I was in the gaming industry, my management's really good at all things gaming and finding the trends, and I want to buy something that complements that from a strategy standpoint. But then going further on the finance side, I like to see the company maybe also fit into what I'm doing, right? So if you look at GameStop and it's clear like not throwing stones, but like revenue has been down year over year. Operating income, I think we are about to break even. I do have a lot of cash sitting on the balance sheet, but maybe I don't generate it a lot of free cash flow outside the interest rate stuff. So in that case, I would probably buy something that's asset light, maybe subscription stuff, maybe something steady for recurring revenue. Something I don't want to put a lot of cash into because I don't really want to take my cash and service a bunch of fixed asset stuff. So in terms of like M&A stuff, it's, one, can I get a fair price for what they're asking? Two, does it kind of fit into my strategy? And three, is this going to like supplement my balance sheet or kind of add to areas where I'm weak, right? If I don't have cash, do I get AR, like something, right? There's got to be some addition to my balance sheet on an acquisition.
Should be accretive, right? Like,
yeah, accretive, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you got it.
Sounds like a good thing to keep in mind. We're going to go through.
But also having all that cash on just sitting there doing nothing is not a good plan either, right? I mean, should be.
No, I've gotten roasted over the years for pointing this out.
You probably like cash.
I have too, because I've also pointed this out.
Not all of it, but I mean, I think you could, lever some of it and.
I mean, you can crack open any finance book from college, and having too much cash is almost worse than not having enough cash at all, right? If you're not, especially if I can do anything with it.
Yeah.
Because if I can throw it in a savings
money's
account,
not working for you.
It's not working.
I
right?
will say another thing that we as the board can vote on right now. If we're going to get serious about this M&A and building the future of whatever we decide to put to our shareholders, i.e. the people voting on YouTube.
Future millionaires.
Yeah, for future millionaires. I need a vote here from the current board of directors, dumping our current BTC holdings and just flushing out the current debt that we have, so that that is leverage, because the how those are securitized is the cash on our balance sheet, which we need for this acquisition. So all those in favor of liquidating the BTC holdings and getting rid of the current debt.
Wait. Are you talking about at Bitcoin's current price, or are you talking about?
I don't get rid of it.
Monday.
Yay. We got 2 votes. Anyone else here on this?
It's a big loss to take, though.
Double down.
What did we discover he bought it at?
Double down.
Like 105. You think it's going to go back to 105 anytime soon?
No, but it might go back to 80.
It might go back to it might go down to 50.
I'm not convinced on the relationship to understand enough between how gold is playing out, how crypto is playing out. I'm convinced that there's still could be some rails within the crypto side, but I think that there's going to be a hell of a lot of stuff that happens in between what's going to come from any sort of digital and what's happening now with the dollar. So
yeah,
I don't know.
But I mean, a lot of these payment systems, like PayPal did it, Stripe did it.
Yay or nay, guys? Yay or nay?
Okay, so we'll go around the board here. Excuse me, I'm going to take back my chair position.
To discuss
Excuse me here.
By the way,
so the chair votes yay. Platinum votes yay. Amy?
I mean, can I this?
Sounded like nay.
You can take I will take abstentions.
I don't think I don't think it's a smart idea at the current price.
Okay, so Amy abstains. Adabit?
No, I say no.
No.
I don't think you should.
Running with bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna count. I'm gonna say no to that.
Wow. So we got an actual.
He doesn't think they should take the loss either.
We'll here's since we got an actual tie on the board.
Bitcoin baggies for life.
Give me 1 second.
So
here.
I mean, I'll change
to
a no. No, I'm gonna change to a no then.
Okay.
I'm already a GME baggy. I may as well just Bitcoin baggy.
So that was voted down for now. Maybe we'll put it up to a shareholder vote later.
I think they do too. I don't think
they have
Bitcoin
time because even the notes that they sold are what are they out to? 20.
I'm okay with the no here. It depends on what other people's prognostications on how we want to go forward. But I think my plan that I have in my head that we can discuss along with everyone else's plan is going to be all right regardless. I just personally,
if they were under a time crunch, I think it's something to talk about, but they're not.
Yeah,
I think Bitcoin's going down from here, so that's why I vote yay. But it's fine.
I just think that if you want Bitcoin to fully leverage into whatever transformative thing you're going to be doing, this side project in Bitcoin is a waste of your fucking time.
I felt like it was a mistake in the first place. I feel like Michael Saylor got in his ear, and
that's possible.
Maybe, but you're in it now.
Right,
So-
but cut the losses sometimes, right? Instead of
All right. So
Well,
here's
yeah,
our
he
first
should have cut the losses at,
suggestion
like,
as to an
90K.
acquisition
I agree.
target. I'm going to
No,
say that why. I
No
like
shot.
I respond to this with literally why.
No.
well, you
There's
know
no way.
why? Because Ryan.
Oh,
Cohen
because
was
Ryan
there.
Cohen previously
beginning.
ran it. Like, oh,
Literally
that's
He already
what
fucking
Disney
sold it
ran.
for $3.2 billion. Like, what does he want with that?
Yeah, that's the only reason why it's a nay.
And does he even make money?
I think they just started to. Isn't that right?
Let me take a look. I can pull up Weeble.
By the way, what I was going to say is that, like, all of these, like, mobile pays are going to, like, stablecoin and going to start, like, they're about to put the credit card industry out of business
I doubt it.
if they execute well.
Last quarter,
really-
Chewy had a, let's see here.
I'll send you some literature, Platinum.
Had a
Okay, you do
positive
that.
operating income. Total
Send me your DD.
total net income. They did have a profit last quarter of 59.2 million. What's annual? Let's look at annual. Annually, they had a total net income of 392 million for 2025 year ending. So yes, they did make money.
Okay, so here's what
I
the,
still say no.
headline is, by the way.
I
on
still
this.
say no
So-
too. Like, what does this have to do? Like, I get where people are thinking.
No, Chewy.
Like, Ryan Cohen has always been about retail and reforming retail, but this has nothing to do with our business.
Right.
So here's the headline, just on the side note. It's Circle Internet Group and Stripe are racing to build payment systems for a world in which autonomous AI agents settle in stable coins, replacing the swipe of a credit card. And PayPal's doing something similar. They just announced it with MoonPay. Like, this is coming.
So,
Well, have you heard
I
about?
will-
You heard Larry Fink and BlackRock and all those guys talk about what their plans are to go to digital currency for
Mhm.
tokenizing literally everything. Like, there's going to be something that has to step in as a lead transactions platform that helps them conduct this. And I don't think
All right.
I don't think that, I mean, getting way out in the weeds, but I don't think Chewy should be entertained
Right.
at all.
Yeah. I don't
So,
think Chewy is.
vote from the board of directors on Chewy acquisition. Nay from the chair. Amy, nay. Platinum, nay. Adabit, nay. Ryan with. I'm going to skip over the speculative. The speculative. I don't think we even need to vote on it. The speculative 4chan screed
God.
on
Dear
GameStop buying Nintendo of America. That ain't fucking happening. Speaking of which, on the joke column, acquiring AMC. I think we can all vote that down. We good on that
Absolutely
one?
not happening.
The
What?
one
You all
Uh,
have
what
an
is-
awesome retro
Oh, on
arcade
AMC. Yeah,
movie
no.
theater.
Mm-mm.
And then, of course, we have one of the big conspiracy heavy hitters of that there's been a lot into it is eBay. The problem
No.
I'm having is with the acquisition. Like, Investor Turf here is talking 40 billion in is eBay's market cap, but realize you're going to have to buy them out at a premium to that.
That's right.
The big
Yeah,
problem
I
here
had-
is, where do you get the money to buy eBay?
You
Like,
take
yeah.
that. This is
So
like
that's where-
the Warner Brothers deal. Like, that Paramount is taking on over $90 billion worth of debt to buy Warner Brothers. It's the worst deal like you've ever seen. And they're at what Warner Brothers is valued at what 100 and something billion, and Paramount's like 11. So they're taking on a shit ton of debt to buy this company, and it's just dumb.
Yeah.
And that's what GameStop would have to do, and what Ryan Cohen's not going to do that.
Right.
You know, I
Sorry.
like
I have,
Anyway,
a,
go ahead.
I have a shotgun
the
of
thought.
other bad ideas. Some of them a little closer to being okay. We already took care of the AMC one. We already took care of eBay. Target makes no sense. That's too overly broad as a retailer, I think. Best Buy of those is the closest that you could maybe get me to, but like Best Buy's market cap is 3x that of GameStop's cash position, which is my big concern there. And then why Polymarket or Kalshi? I'm confused.
I don't know. Like,
Anyone
you
have
know,
any
my
comments on any of those?
No. My idea is some sort of financial company, or it's got to be like maybe like a Newegg, I think you said, right? Like something that makes sense to their
Well,
core
I've
business.
got a couple of this, so I'm going to stop the screen share real quick. And I'm going to switch to entire screen because I have created a helpful chart for us.
But like if they could become a bank or
Running with
something,
Bears may have seen this chart because I did kind of hand him over my live stream that I did leading into this. This is my battle plan. And not all these are things that we have to do, but they're ideas. So I was kind of looking at GameStop's business model and how we can put everything together, because my battle plan is, let's make Toys R Us for the modern era. Let's make not just a video game store, but a gaming store. And how would you go about doing that? How would you try and do that? A lot of it is not really acquisitions, honestly, for our topic. A lot of it's just business planning, but it gives us kind of a formulation of where to go with things. So I know that there was sort of an idea at some point of trying to make a digital platform from GameStop. But since we're in the acquisition mode, you know, I don't think you could get Steam. I don't think there's a price that Gabe Newell would sell Steam to GameStop. Sorry, guys. And Epic
do
Games,
we even have a valuation on Steam?
Oh,
I think there were like,
I know the valuation
I
on
wanna
Epic
say-
Games is like 40 billion.
Oh,
so like,
ridiculous.
Wait,
yeah.
who's saying where's the theory that GameStop's gonna acquire Steam? Where's
No,
that
but
even-
it's just
no, there
something
is no
we-
theory.
it's just
I'm
something
saying,
we've themed out.
I'm saying I would like us to have a digital platform as part of the plan, and getting Steam,
okay.
Epic, or Epic Games is like not happening. It's just fucking
No.
not happening. So
Well, Epic for sure not, but I don't know what the valuation of Steam is.
we can look that up real quick, I bet.
So
So it's
I don't.
okay. I was overdoing it. It's apparently got 17 billion in
was like-
gross revenue with, well, I'm not getting a valuation though, but I mean, if it's pulling in revenues of 17 billion, then it's going to be
We should,
probably pretty up there.
acquire Roblox and make it less pedo-y. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, best of luck with that. So my idea was getting good old games, which had recently been pushed out of, oh man, what was that? I know I should know the gaming company that used to hold it, but it's now private, and it was sold for 25.5 billion, which is incredibly cheap.
Billion or
And then
million?
change it into a platform. Yeah, 25.5 million.
Million.
And then reform it into our version of a digital platform, which I think should allow for trading of video games between account holders, something that Steam doesn't allow. So it doesn't make sense for digital trade-ins to GameStop, but if you allowed customers to trade games and then took a cut, like say an eBay does, and you basically had a platform that was a little bit more looser than Steam is, there's a
Do they
revenue
do
potential.
digital trade-ins?
No.
Do you guys, have
Steam,
you guys
once you
read
buy it, you're
anything-
stuck with it, and you can't trade it between accounts.
What'd
You're
you say
stuck
about
with it.
Have you guys read anything that I wrote when I first came back like 2 months ago
it?
No.
I haven't.
about them breaking into digital game sales and how they could do it?
Yeah. I
have
think
not.
I'd be an honest
but
part of it.
Share that.
Robot Cash. Robot Cash is the company that you're talking about. So the theory. So the difference between Steam, where they don't allow for subsequent resale, and a company like Robot Cash is that they have their own token-based platform for all of these games. And Robot Cash makes a 5% haircut, but they allow for subsequent sales on all PC games. That, say you could be a publisher. You're just working in your computer for 5 years and you make a PC game and you want to bring it to a market. Robot Cash would be a company that you go to them, they would license, or they would host your game, allow it to sell. You'd have a 90-day lockout period for subsequent sales where they're not allowed to do subsequent sales. So it's only initial purchases from the beginning for those 90 days. And then depending on the demand for it, people can either continue to buy directly from the publisher, or you can purchase in a secondhand exchange, all hosted through Robot Cash, where it's up to the market, just like an eBay platform. I could go on and say, hey, I want to list this for sale, or hell, I don't know if they do this, but it would be amazing if they did, where I can say I'm going to be on vacation for 2 weeks. I just want to rent my game out for $1 a day. Every transaction,
like the Airbnb of video games.
Yes, it'd be the same exact thing. So
But how do you value the game? Like if somebody builds a game, and like, how do you say, okay, I want to put this on the platform for $59.99 or whatever?
It's all a direct market. It's all 100% driven by what you as a
people want
publisher.
to play it.
You go in as a publisher and you say this is going to be a $30 launch or a $40 launch, and then Robot Cash says, okay, sounds good, and they launch it for $40, and then a bunch of people buy it, and they're like, dude, I'm not even going to get $5 for this. This game was terrible. They drive the subsequent, second-hand market. And the Robot Cash is CACHE, like cash on your computer. I should have clarified that, but yeah, they're a company they've been trying to IPO. They've been trying to IPO for a while, but I think they've got some problems. But anyway, the concept is there, and I was talking about this with Platinum off to the side for here and there a couple of times over the past month, and really that got me rolling on this theory that, like, well, what if GameStop is acquiring a publishing company? Like, imagine GameStop can somehow do a leverage buyout on Rockstar Games for like the Grand Theft Auto release.
I'm not 100% opposed to the idea. I just think it's really tricky for GameStop to
100%.
go the game publishing route. But I'm with you to a certain extent. I think what would really help, especially if we were to have like a digital platform, like say we get Good Old Games or do something with Robot Cash. If the big thing I hate with Steam is like it has like sort of this indie game kind of energy, but there's too much shit. So if there was some way that, say, GameStop could moderate, but also kind of curate having new up and coming indie developers or something like that on the platform. So I'm kind of halfway between owning a game publisher adds a whole bunch of risks into the company, but say that we did something that kind of enticed indie publishers to want to be on our platform. That makes a little bit more sense to me. I'm not sure how you would do that.
And let me clarify what I mean by owning a publisher and what. So I'm not saying I think GameStop's next move is going to be to purchase a publishing company, like a game publishing company. What I was saying is the publishing company sees direct value in like licensing, limited license with direct purchase from them only. So no subsequent resale. But if you are GameStop and you are also making money on the haircut and the exchange, and you have publishing companies, their direct motive or their direct source of revenue is now not limited to what the publishing company can do. It's also expanded by this secondhand market or secondhand digital exchange, both primary and secondary market that GameStop operates. So you can still loop in the console provider, the Sonys, the Nintendos, the Xbox, and their exchanges for subsequent sales of those same tokenized games in the same.
So you're saying by Robot Cash, we wouldn't be limited to our platform. We would have the other like console markets that we could be a second hand for.
So I'm saying Robot Cash is a living, breathing example of how this is working right now for PC games. They're doing this currently right now where any publisher can come to them or major publishers can come to them and say, hey, we want to launch with a tokenized platform where there's only 100 million copies of these that exist or 10 million copies or whatever. And we do the subsequent or the initial sale for 90 days. After that, the secondary exchange opens up and the publisher is making continuous kickbacks every time that transaction occurs for however long, indefinitely. That's kind of a working model for this. And then GameStop can also have the same type of exchange-based platform all on their own. I'm not sure if they have to purchase another company that's already doing this just to tap into that, or if they have the experience within like the NFT platform that they were working on to maybe the technology's there. But the concept would be they would also open it up to independent, or indie publishers that are going to have, I want to work on my PC game, and maybe that's how they establish the market and how it works is for PC games. And then they can also, you can consider like your VR headset, your VR space here as well, and have over 5-10 years, you can show how successful this model is for big games that do well and how much money Sony and Nintendo and Xbox could be making if we loop them into these subsequent. Now, all of a sudden, GameStop is the only marketplace for both physical and digital game exchanges. And you've proven that Sony's and Xbox or Microsoft and Nintendo can make more money doing subsequent sales as long as the game is good and people like it. I mean, I just bought a PS1 game through eBay like 4 months ago, and I played the thing like 20 times, and I had to pay almost $100 for it. Like these types of games that do really well and drive a lot of nostalgia, you can't buy them for the first time anymore, because obviously that's a physical game that was made and is not made anymore. But the concept there is the same as well.
So there's more and more stuff going digital, right? Like my son has an Xbox and he has the Game Pass where he can just play these games all digitally or whatever. Like, what if they did like their name is GameStop? Like, what if they made a digital platform, figured out how to either partner with Sony and all these and had like a one-stop shop for all games digitally? Like
that's kind of what the like Goldilocks idea would be. But like you mentioned, the subscription model, that is kind of the reason why I was kind of thinking Good Old Games, because they already have that as the implemented model for their system. The problem with it is they have no DRM, and I would strongly suggest getting rid of that, because I think that's the big problem that they have with their sales is none of their games have DRM. So what's stopping me from ripping a copy and giving it to my friend? That's kind of.
But then they could they could tier it out, right? Like if so he can play the whatever on Game Pass. So they have this tier which allows you to play certain Sony games and Xbox games, whatever, and and then you have the full tier where you can play all of them. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just move to something like that, because the physical games, there are some people who still buy physical games, but my son, for example, plays all these games just digitally with his Game Pass.
Yeah. And see, this is the big thing why I say it's kind of the Goldilocks thing to get consoles involved. It's a lot easier in the PC market to because like consoles are pretty hard locked down and they have their own markets, and they purposely make it so that you have to use their digital stores or get a physical game. And it's a lot harder to get into the console market. And that's why I've been kind of like more focused, at least on mine, on PCs, because the PC market's a lot more open. Like, it's really hard to lock down. Like, PC users even resist that sort of thing.
But they're doing it anyway. Like, if they weren't already doing digital, I would say maybe it's not a possibility, but they're doing digital anyway. So you find some sort of integration into the GameStop thing. Like, so they're still making the money off of like my son who plays Game Pass or whatever, because not all games will be available or whatever. But so it's just it's another revenue arm for them.
Yeah. So it's a way for them to take a bunch of things that they have the rights to, like these console providers, and Sony has their own marketplace, and Sony has a bunch of games that are sitting in a closet, just like on a shelf at GameStop, where this is a $4 game. It's been sitting here for 4 months and nobody wants it. But if I can take like 40 of these games and I can lump them all together and say, hey, people would pay $15 to a month to go in and collectively pay these. This is the tiered system that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's absolutely possible. I think this is split really for console providers and publishers in one major way, and that is the publisher, their job around the clock is to create this game, and then they're going to license with Usually Sony, if it's going to be a PlayStation game, they're going to license and contract with Sony to get the APIs to develop a PlayStation only game. They can also contract with, Microsoft to get the APIs that will allow them to create the game for Microsoft. So it can be sold on those platforms. And then the initial purchase, the completely different scenario for like console providers is they only currently offer direct purchase only. But as I was polling on X and what I was doing research, and I was seeing that it's actually like the opposite. I thought most people would be like, man, I got to hold on to everything. I would rarely trade anything. I might trade, if I had 10 games, I would trade 1 or 2 over my entire life for something else. A lot of people are the opposite. They want to trade 10 to 9 to 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I think a part of a market that could totally be captured. Like, even though people have digital games on a lot of places like Steam, you don't even own the rights to the game. You have a license, a temporary license to the game. You don't own it. So if we had a marketplace where even if there's some sort of DRM, but you have ownership of the game and can trade it and resell it and whatever, that would be the marketing way to market a GameStop platform. And then you just take a cut of the sale.
And you can demonstrate that market because people want it.
Yeah.
There's just not a way or a place for them to go to utilize it.
Right.
And if you could show how powerful it was, that look, if I've looked into the data on this, and with the majority of all big sales, you have a lot of hype coming into a game that's being delivered. And you use Grand Theft Auto 6, which is coming out. It's been punted and punted and punted. And
maybe
it's become a meme. And now everybody's like, we got this, we got World War III before we got Grand Theft Auto 6, these types of things. And there's a lot of anticipation for it. But even after the release of Grand Theft Auto 6, sales dropped 70% after the first week. So this is something huge where you can give them that 90-day period to say, just in case, we'll block out for 3 months. All sales have to go directly.
That way you get the peak part of the sales.
You get 95% of that meat and potatoes. And then after someone's beat it in a month or 2 days or however quick people can go through their games now, you take a game like Grand Theft Auto 6, it'll probably be an $80 game or whatever it's going to be. It could be totally off there. People can shoot me whatever they want.
No, I'm sure it will be.
You take like an $80 game, and now after 3 months, you open up a secondhand market, and you see how close to $80 they're getting for Grand Theft Auto. You'll be 75, 74, 70, whatever, enough to still convince the primary market buyers that the secondary market's the way to go. But the fact that you can loop in Sony and Rockstar
to get their cut where they're not feeling that they're getting cut out of the loop.
Exactly. Also, the person who bought the game, to allow them to get like 30 or 40% of their money back. And the GameStop exchange is just taking the haircut. It doesn't care what the price is. They're just taking 5%
commission fee
every time it happens. So now GameStop, and that's where the point of if GameStop owned the publisher, their profit is the publisher's profit. GameStop is the 70% in the normal model, where now GameStop gets 70% outright, not Rockstar, because GameStop owns Rockstar. And from that point forward, subsequently, give that 70% back to the person who's selling it, so they get their 70% of the money back, and you're just making the 5% haircut on all subsequent transactions, and then the console provider gets 25. So you can work in a model like that, where you really drive this secondary market. And I guarantee you build it, they will come. And if people can log into one digital landscape, one account, and access and retrade PlayStation game, I almost said Game Boy. That's funny. Like PlayStation.
Well, I mean, just on that, like I can tell you, like on my Switch, right? I'll go to the Nintendo shop or whatever, and like I'll buy like these games that I probably never even would look at or see or anything. I'll just be scrolling through and I'm like, well, this looks fun. And they have it on there for like $2.99 or something like that. Yeah. And I'm like, I'll spend that. But like, like there's ways to, like, just because you're like, it's some silly game that you probably never would have looked at, but for $2 or $3, I'll look at that.
Yeah.
Let's see what it's like, you know?
And then, this way you create something that is very easy for existing publishers to use the GameStop framework, because if they just contract with GameStop has all the potential to work with the Sonys and the Microsofts and the Nintendos to get your game designed and fit for a market where it goes live on GameStop's exchange. And then anybody who purchases is buying the digital token to that game, and they own it, and they can lend it out. You can rent it out, and if you rent it out,
It's kind of like NFTs, right? Like the idea behind NFTs, right? You get the royalties and the things like that. I mean, ish.
That's exact. So basically, it's just it's like right now you have a physical copy of a game. It's a way to give the physical copy of the game to someone where this is their token, their key. They have this game. As long as they have this token, they can play the game. But if I go on vacation for 2 weeks and I want to rent that token out to someone else, they'll get it for 2 weeks. I set my expiration. As soon as I come home, 2 weeks later, it comes back to me. They no longer have the right to play it. And I made a couple bucks while I was on vacation.
That was kind of another thing that I was thinking about with this platform. And I'm going to kind of wrap it up because there's a couple other steps to this that I kind of want, and maybe you guys had input to add to it. But that was another thing I was thinking about, because I know Steam does occasionally free games where you can play the game for a week and whatever. But if you let people do the old school kind of renting, where, I mean, they're not saying that a company can't just say, we want people to be able to play it free for a week. But if you offered sort of as like a rental service where you can pay to play the game for X amount of time to see if you want to buy it, then, you know, that is another way that GameStop could get a haircut and do that sort of thing. So,
and
yeah,
you could
because
do
once you buy a
subscription-based
game
service
and you
for that.
beat it, like how often do you play it again? I mean,
yeah, basically
some
the
of these you play
subscription-based
again,
service
but-
Yeah, so you have this exactly. That could be like your pro membership. It's part of your pro membership. Something you're paying an extra $5 a month or whatever, and that gives you access to play games for a trial period. But that $5 that you're paying for that is haircut back to GameStop, back to the publisher. That's
right.
You know, because
the publisher's going to want to be cut back into that.
Yes. So the whole point is figuring out a way to still maximize value for me, the owner of the game, but realizing that I'm not going to be able to sell an $80 game for $80 after a year or 2 years. In many cases, it just depends on how high of demand the game has in subsequent years. But it also lets me tap into that market and say, even if I only get $30 for this game, and I still think that's valuable, it's 30 more that I can put toward another game going forward. So.
Yeah, the other half that I want to do to help try and to inoculate to get people into the system is the other purchase there, and maybe Running with Bears has some ideas, because we actually have a public company here with actual public information, and that's Corsair. They already have a PC building operation, which I think is something that we can fill that empty floor space when we kick out some of these physical games that aren't really selling. Just keep the physical games that people want to buy. Keep it very narrow, kind of like how Walmart does. You only keep the top games that people want. But then you not so much maybe the higher end PCs, though, you know, if they sell, you could have them there. But really what I'd want is a PC that was their sorry that you got to go, but
Sorry, man. I didn't know. I didn't want to interrupt what you're doing, but I really appreciate the invite. Got to drop for now, but happy
Thanks
to come
for
back
coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's really good to talk with you guys. Thank you so much.
See you around, sir. Yes.
Yes, we'll see you later.
So the idea was to have a budget level PC, because I think the PC market has a distinct problem of there's not an entry level PC so much anymore that's at an affordable price. So if we could use Corsair to get us a PC that would be an entry level PC at about the price of a console, it'd be really hard to compete with a console, but I think you get something close. It would all be in-house profit because we own Corsair, and we could put our digital platform onto these PCs. So the first time someone opens up a PC, they're not getting Steam, they're getting our digital platform. You get a whole new user base that, I mean, sure, some of them will definitely just be like, I already have a Steam account, so fuck this and get Steam. I'm not saying that that's a foolproof plan, but for someone who's maybe new coming into the gaming market or something like that, you could have a PC that already has our software loaded on it. So their first inclination may be to just use us. And of course, we can have them make like Corsair also does like game mouses and stuff like that. And we could also probably have them not to be too mean, but like GameStop's third-party devices, maybe not the greatest quality, but now that we have Corsair, they could make some quality, more, consumer-friendly devices because they already make peripherals. So I'll pitch it over to Running with Bears as far as to accretive value. If you did any research on like Corsair or had any thoughts.
Yeah, I like this one. The ones I've heard slung around, I like this one the most.
I first looked at Logitech and I saw its market cap was a little too much for us.
Yeah, I like Corsair. Like I own one of their cases, right? I like the product. I think it makes more sense in terms of you already got the retail space. You can put the stuff in the retail space. It's adjacent.
And not to interrupt you, but it's sort of like what I like to call the Walmart, as opposed to Amazon where you have to have it shipped out to you, you can have it delivered to the Walmart. You can have your PC delivered to GameStop and just pick it up and not have to worry about someone stealing your expensive PC off your front porch.
Yeah. Yes, in terms of the idea, plus this is smaller, I kind of wonder with the bonus they threw out for our buddy, because like people initially went to just straight doing like a monster acquisition. I would rather see, given the history of management, what they've tried in the past, maybe to buy a couple things first, get it working right, instead of just swinging for the fences on the first one, right? Like, so
well, that's kind of where I was going, because like a monster acquisition, you're immediately going to have it first tank on the stock because you're acquiring something so large. And then you've got to realize that accretive value. Whereas if you get something like some of these small pieces, which is kind of the idea I was going here, and you developed them, again, execution is the big part here.
Yeah.
But there's more chance of an upside accretive value if you deliver some sweat equity into it, I guess, to put it, than just getting something that's already there. There's more possibility of realized upside.
Yeah, because if you buy something big, right, you're gonna have to take out a lot of debt. Then you're gonna service the debt, and then most likely the other side of that's gonna be dilution. You got to like raise equity, right? So you're gonna dilute your current people. So if it's huge, that's gonna be risky. And on top of that, if you're barely generating, say, any kind of operating cash, then okay, now the company I bought has to pay the interest, right? Or GameStop's got to pay the interest, so it gets real in a hurry, right? So that's why I thought maybe a couple smaller acquisitions would make more sense. I'd get comfortable before they swung for the fences.
The only problem is they don't seem to be particularly profitable right now. But like again, like it seems to be improving, and if like again, a lot of this has to do with delivering on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and like when I'm doing like DD and like quality of earnings for like PE firms wanting to buy companies, that's part of the analysis, right? So you go way into the numbers to say like, okay, of the revenue, how's it broken out? Like, how are they spending money? How are the expenses structured? So that I can really break out. I can take out like my management team's good at X. Like, are the problems they having the same problems my current management can fix, right? Then if that's the case, then I'll buy a company that's kind of beat up to get a better deal on it, right? If I trust my management to kind of fix stuff. So I'm more inclined to be more forgiving of financials if I'm walking off the street, if it's in the adjacent industry and I've got a good management team, right? That's something you could pick up and kind of fix, because you can use your same managers to maybe go across, fix some of the problems, and then you start seeing the value, right? And I paid less because it wasn't already like a fixed up house, right? I needed some sweat equity, as you're saying.
Yeah, right. And I'm a lot more solid on my opinion of going with Corsair, especially with the synergies with the rest of our business model, than I am going out and getting a new egg. Like Amy, I know that you and a couple other people were sort of almost as a joke, but also sort of as maybe we're serious of like Newegg being swallowed up by GameStop. Like, did you have any thoughts on this? Because Newegg, like when we talk about sweat equity, you look at Newegg and there's a lot of sweat equity, as it were, into Newegg there. Like, this is a business that's really kind of struggling.
It's NEGG.
Oh shoot. I thought I punched it in and had, there we go.
Cool. Well, I mean, just like as a marketplace, right? Because you can buy like computer parts and stuff there. So
It's at
I mean,
$42 right now.
is-
What?
yeah,
Well, because they did a reverse split, I
they did
think.
a reverse
Oh,
split. Right, they
okay,
did a
that
reverse split, and then it went nuts, right?
Yeah. And then it kind of came back down. Let me look
Right.
here. Yeah. See.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That's why the market cap is so low. Like we're talking about a company here with a market cap of, where is it? Yeah, 189 million. I mean, we've got 8 billion. This
No,
is like
891 million.
yeah, 9 million, and we've got 8 billion. So
Right.
like there's like the problem I have is GameStop already has, like, maybe it's not as massive as Newegg's is, but they already have a digital storefront, right? Platinum, and they sort of have their own host of problems that they've had operating it. But if you're looking to maybe expand it, maybe Newegg's a good buy. And if you think that, you know, Ryan Cohen can improve it, I mean, but like I put Newegg in there because if you're wanting to do like physical gaming, like again,
Like-
also if we expand into like having in GameStop, like actual board games, pen and paper stuff, dice, all that, like that stuff, make it a game store, not just a like video game store, but like a Toys R Us, like a game toy store, you know, having Newegg with their presence, their distribution and everything, it would help. There'd be a synergy there, but same time, Newegg is kind
Look,
of
if they wanted to start small, they could do something like Funko Pops because they love Funko Pops and they sell the Funko Pops. and
I
like,
hesitated very much to put
We
the
all hate the
Funko
Funko.
Pop acquisition on this board.
not
Do
Jimmy.
we
Jimmy
really want
loves
to do
it,
that?
and they can get it now for pretty cheap.
Oh, yeah.
Probably a reason why it's cheap though.
Yeah. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, I struggle with that one because it's not. I don't know. I know they're selling them in the stores, but it feels like a side
Oh
quest.
wow,
more
we
than
don't even
anything.
have 2025 financials yet. Let's go to quarterly. Net income, not. Well, I mean, they had a positive net income of like almost $1 million.
I mean, if they're selling their stuff, it feels good enough, right? Like I don't know. I struggle with this one. I've never really been keen on the whole.
Well, the
Funko
thing is
anyway, to be
if we
honest.
integrate it and we like a lot of Funko Pop probably is their distribution. And if we just cut that out and just put our distribution in there, maybe we could save some money and make a profit. But
if I just gut everything on this terrible product, maybe it's okay.
yeah, well, maybe other than cut everything out, just use our distribution. All they need to do is just make the Funko Pops. I mean, maybe.
I struggle with it.
Another dart throw that I also had was, let's just buy PSA, guys.
Yeah.
Private company that we have no idea how much, but the valuation is currently saying at 4.3 billion. So it'd be a pretty good chunk, unlike these other acquisitions.
Yeah, for me, that's probably too heavy out of the gate, right? I don't know about the card stuff anyway. I'm probably not the best guy to talk about that anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not either. But it was part of like the synergy I had with this part of the collectibles being added is also it's kind of the community thing. And I'm kind of looking at it from a guy who used to work at Toys R Us of you've got the collectibles angle with your trading cards that you're trying to sell. And if you're also doing things like having Pokemon tournaments or Magic tournaments or whatever, like your normal local gaming store would have, and you're trying to integrate in the community, like owning PSA to be like, "Ooh, little Timmy, you got your like shiny holographic Charizard. Would you like us to slab that for you?" Or, you know, and you're having the Pokemon tournaments and little Timmy is being motivated because he wants to beat little Jimmy to buy Pokemon cards. Like there's all sorts of synergies there, but I don't think I don't know if that's what GameStop wants to do really. And I don't think, see, this is the problem that like me and Platinum have had this discussion many times of like being a game store is
I'm gonna drop
just
off too, guys.
like, all righty.
Okay.
We'll
good night,
catch
guys.
you around then,
Yeah, have fun.
Letters. Like the execution on the game store angle would not be hard for GameStop, but like, oh, it's so frustrating that it just won't take easy wins.
Yeah. That's all I gotta drop in a few minutes. My F1 race starts here. Can't miss it. But no, that's where I struggle too. It's like if they've closed a bunch of stores and revenue's declining and the technology pivot hasn't really worked, then maybe you do go buy Corsair. Because I always thought it'd be kind of fun if they did pivot some of the stores more like a flagship thing, right? Like just like a,
Right.
because we have a couple local gaming stores here, and I think that's kind of a fun idea. Um, but I'm with you. Like first, I'd really like to see them actually invest money in the company, right, as opposed to going M&A out the door. But if they basically refused to do that for years, right, because capex has been almost non-existent. But I'm in agreement with you, like on your couple acquisitions. I think my favorite people, they were probably going to assume in like a monster acquisition out of the gate, when realistically it's going to be something small, right? It should be
Right.
if you're, because they've been pretty cautious, right? When you really look at what they've done, they haven't really done much with the cash. It's all been through dilution. So the idea they're going to go out and like leverage something up the nose, like that doesn't jive. So, but I think it's exciting. But hopefully, we see something out of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions for me before I drop off too, or?
Like I think you did kind of what I was like just kind of expecting, because like I was kind of rough sketching it, and like that was the only thing that, and I think that's the reason why you haven't heard a lot of, ooh, we're going to acquire this so fast, because I don't see a lot of good ideas here that really are just going to suddenly make GameStop, and that's really, I think, the problem they're having here. A lot of this is you're going to have to put some effort into the business model. You just don't overnight become.
Yeah, like yes, you're pretty much dead on. 'Cause a lot of the acquisitions, a lot of the DD stuff I've done for acquisitions, it's there's so many layers of people like assessing the risk and trying to figure out what the real number is and what the true output's going to be and this and that. So the idea that your very first acquisition, you're going to just go huge, right? Like no finance person there is going to suggest that out of the gate. Go buy something small, make sure the numbers work, make sure you can actually do the thing you said you're going to do, and then go buy something slightly bigger, right? And it's always just like a half step off what you're doing, right? Like I own company A, and I'm going to go buy this one that's basically my neighbor, right? Integrate it, consolidate the costing, and then grow it, and then go buy company C that's basically half of company B, right? That kind of stuff. So my only fear for the average investor is that they get too caught up in the idea that they're going to go, this company's going to go out and buy Walmart, right? It's not going to be that exciting, probably. So,
Yep. Well, it was nice having you on Running with Bears. Glad to have you on as always. We'll maybe have you on next time that we need to do some numbers stuff, some sexy balance sheets.
I love a good balance
or cash flow statements in your case.
Or any disclosures, I love a good disclosure.
Yeah. But thanks for having you on again. We're gonna go talk about some clowns. Thanks, a lot of clowns.
See you.
Good to see you.
So yeah, we got some meme stock stuff to close us out. Luckily there's not too much, because I didn't want us. I know Amy was feeling a little tired and everything, and we also had other things that I thought would be fun for us to do. Does that look better? No, that actually makes it smaller. Does this make it better? No, that makes it even smaller
on your computer.
Yeah, well, that's what I was doing. I was trying to get it first to the right.
There you go.
So this dropped Friday. So this is the proposed order that was agreed to, and it has been, whoopsies, give me all pages. Thank you very much. I don't know why they do that on here, but it has been signed by Judge Boward. So the death spiral financing to have shareholders pay Josh Cohen's debts has been approved.
Wow.
No shock there. Get
Great
ready
job.
for it. That's going to be fun. We also had, I believe, let me see if I can find it here. Nope, not that one. Oh yeah, we had a whole new list of things. First of all, that that it's not him trying to deny that it's not happening, that there is going to be no receivership on these properties. But like, dude, bro, this is the contract you signed. Hey, Platinum, could you read the highlighted part?
All debts, liabilities, obligations, restrictions, and duties of Eric Garcia and EGD Energy LLC and 100% of their working interest and all associated liabilities in KRF Production Company, LLC, Heifer Production Company, LLC, shall become the debts, liabilities, obligations, restrictions, and duties of Vision Oil and Gas Corp.
Oof. So that means that if someone had a lien on the property and like say they took that to court and they won, that would mean that even though I bought it, the lien would affect me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But remember, he said he paid off all his debts with shares.
Oh, so maybe that's more dilution that's coming. That's not good.
That's what he said. Remember?
That's not
what he
good.
said in person when we were talking to him.
We also have a new batch from the 5th on Thursday of leases that have been found deficient and are at threat of being labeled orphan and being taken away from Vision Oil and Gas. So, you know, like it just keeps getting better and better and better for them. I'm sure shareholders really appreciate. I don't know how many shareholders do you think listen to this show, Platinum?
AZRH shareholders?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, hopefully there's not too many, but shout out
too many
Josh's
shareholders
mom.
because they sold while it was high. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we can only hope.
Right.
Ari, you out there? I think Ari is long. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, did you get the chance to read this by chance? The newest thing that happened in the first backstory. Do you remember what this lawsuit was?
Is this the quantum one?
This is the other quantum one, correct? This is the board member or the brother of the board member that filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Against the same parties over the same things. Well, guess what? I missed this until I was going through it, but on February 23rd, guess what happened? Oh, is this Quantum filing a memorandum of law in support of having these two cases consolidated? Hey, Platinum, what was the chief problem in the motion to dismiss against Quantum in the lawsuit?
That weren't they saying that they couldn't even buy the securities because they were in Canada?
Right. This was two Canadian companies fighting over Canadian transactions. What is this doing in an American court?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Paul here is an American citizen and Quantum takes over this case, I get what their idea they think they're going to do is they're going to say that, oh, well, now we have standing, don't we? I don't think it works like that. I think that they're going to have hard times being appointed lead plaintiff because the same problems in the other case. But you can already see the scheme that has been coming together that I said was going to happen, that this was going to be their little footsie around the fact that they don't have standing and that they know that they're probably going to lose that case. And now they're trying to jerry-rig their way into having standing. I haven't gotten to read the whole thing, but I don't know. This is looking really sus. I don't know about you, Platinum.
Yeah. I don't know about that. But hey, we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for them. We do have a few other Quantum things. Apparently, they issued a whole bunch of new shares. The outstanding share count, according to Matt, has risen by 12%. Or I guess if you round up 13. So they're this is the thing that's really weird. They waited till like the stock bottomed out to start the dilution machine.
Yeah. Right. And well, I mean, who knows, right? Like they're not great at reporting, so maybe they did it before and are just reporting it now.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Malone, right? With his sales that he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're both suddenly reporting these shares in the market, you know, whatever. Who knows really when.
Speaking of Kevin Malone.
Oh God, yeah.
And apparently he was trying to flex about a car that if you look at the license plate, you go to this tweet, it's actually a Texas license plate. So this isn't even his car. So yeah, sure, totally. Since April 2020, when Keith, myself, and other investors saw the potential. yeah, I totally believe that you're a car there, bro. Totally, 100%. You're totally not just
Ugh.
making shit up.
Yeah, just trying to put himself in the category of Keith Gallo's hilarious.
We did get some updates. Now, these all I've taken a look at them, and I didn't notice until I refreshed Pacer that these are all copies. So I'm not going to go back over them again. These are all stuff that was brought over from the previous case in front of the DC court. But I still find it hilarious because I guess I had forgotten about it. That the not plan of history, the U.S. trustee is trying to get cat data. Like, I didn't realize that was part of it. So literally,
The bankruptcy trustee?
sheets, yes, wants to get like cat data, which is like protected because as privilege, because that's literal law enforcement stuff. Like for the SEC to enforce things like that. So like just that in general, just I it just all of this just feels really sus. And maybe it's because George is kind of involved in this, as has been admitted. And it's just it feels all sorts of scummy. I can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Maybe you know more about this because I wasn't super paying attention to it, but apparently also NextBridge has no carbons updated their FAQ and pointed out that the only reason that their company is a private company is because they themselves refuse to let it trade. Not that, you know, the evil FINRA has your shares locked up or that the naked shorts and whatever. No, we refuse to make the stock publicly trading. It is us. We are the ones you should hate. Yeah.
Yeah, this is this like not updated. This is the same question and answer that they had before. Like they did
they did update it.
They did update their frequently asked questions and added a couple more. Like one of the questions apparently that are frequently asked is, does MMTLP exist anymore? They had to answer that.
No.
Right. The answer is no. Sorry, it's gone. No. But yeah, the insofar is so funny. Like when you need to explain that you're private insofar, like you're not private.
Exactly. Exactly. It's really great. Did you happen to see Byron Donalds? Because this has some interesting connections to some other stuff.
Oh, okay.
So first, were you aware of this tweet?
Yes.
Okay.
I even responded to it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what was your response?
I don't know. Scroll down.
Well, I haven't scrolled down on something else here, but.
Oh, okay. I can't remember. It was like, Indeed.
I'm sure if I click here, it'll be
and
bam.
And that's why the FOIAs keep getting denied too. Hopefully this investigation comes to a conclusion soon. And then I highlighted one of the documents in the SEC versus Berta case that mentions the ongoing MMTLP investigation.
Like the idea that they don't know who the criminals are it's hilarious. It's a hilarious LARP.
Well, if you want, like you can click on what he's retweeting and see exactly what Joanna asked him. And it's like, when are you guys going to tell a full story?
At the community news event in Miami a couple months ago, I represent 65,000 plus veterans, investors, Floridians that have been defrauded in the market in MMTLP. MMTLP is
be clear. Yeah. When you say MMTLP, explain to people what that is.
MMTLP is preferred share dividend.
I'm glad that like he's like genuinely trying to be nice about it.
Oh, he was nice the whole time.
Even though he knows where this is going.
Well, he didn't even know. He had no idea, I feel like. And then well, I'll let it just play out.
And trade it. But through market makers and companies selling illegal stock, they made our stock tradable, which it should have never. We have been defrauded. We have not seen any transparency in the market. And as the next Florida governor that is positioning Florida as a financial state, all we are asking for as the 65,000 plus investors is transparency. We want a share count. If there is nothing
There's
wrong
already a share
with MMTLP, what's the share count? You, as well as 74 congressional members, signed a letter asking Gary Gensler for transparency, and we have dead to rights Gary Gensler under oath lying to Congress through a FOIA, which I'm going to present to you. I did present it in DC on January 12th, where we had a press conference on the steps of the SEC.
So what's this FOIA that he supposedly lied about?
I think she's talking about the financial FIF committee reaching out.
Oh,
Whatever.
okay.
So this is a big issue. A Florida company, TradeStation, admitted that they could not deliver our shares because they oversold them. Nothing has been
not
done in
what they
Florida
said.
with
Okay,
TradeStation, and nothing has been done at the congressional level beyond signing a letter. We want transparency. Will you push as Florida governor for transparency in our market?
Okay, first of all, what is he supposed to fucking do as Florida governor? Like,
Right,
he's not in
but she
Congress
says-
anymore. He's not. There's no federal. Like, he's a state officer, like a state governor. What do you fucking want him to do?
Right. And then she wants transparency, but she doesn't even want to be transparent about their actual situation, right? Like, I mean, you can
Right.
say, like, hey, all these shareholders got screwed by, could have been, more than one entity, right? Like, we believe it's regulators, but also the regulators are looking into the executives for screwing us over. So
Which
maybe
we went
we're-
over last week, how Ann Pizzagate refuses to fucking acknowledge the SEC, that said that, the SEC is doing nothing, never mind the fact that they're actively suing to the executives for fraud.
And then have an open investigation for MMTLP already. Like,
Yes.
mention it, right? So that way, I mean, the only response they're ever going to get always is going to be, well, they're looking into it because of this ongoing investigation. And then she pretends like she's never even heard about this investigation.
Right.
She's like, oh, what do you mean, Wells notices and everything else?
Like, it's just crazy how much they lie because they know the truth does not comport with their
keep playing it though. Well, at the end, he says that he'll actually call them right
I
after.
think you remember me. We met.
Actions in our state. One of the bills that I authored when I was in the legislature actually dealt with making sure we were protecting seniors from disreputable investments. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
And
disreputable
protecting
investments.
seniors from disreputable transactions. We wanted to have protections for seniors in their investment and retirement accounts. So we are going to always push for maximum transparency. Second thing, Gary Gensler, the previous head of the SEC, was awful. And he was not transparent about a lot.
Is he really looking awful, all things considered, during this administration?
I mean, exactly.
Like, of course he's going to say that because he's a Republican running in a Republican state. But like,
Yeah.
let's be honest here, guys. Let's be fucking honest. Who would you rather have, Atkins or Gensler? Not gonna lie, I'd rather have Gensler.
Well, if you're looking for transparency, right? Like,
Right.
Atkins is trying to take away reporting. I mean, talk about not transparent.
A lot of things. We have a new head of the SEC. I will call him after this event, and we're going to get that ball rolling. Because you're right, it's about
So this is the source of the post that we got, was he called him, and
Exactly. And then they must have reached back out to him to let him know that, hey, this is currently under investigation, right? So, I mean,
we can't
It's
talk
not the
about
story.
the specifics other than it is this.
right.
And of course, we get this.
Yeah.
What investigation? Like, again, you know what investigation? Stop playing this fucking game. Like, what? We're being fought, and our government outreach at best is to protect their head.
Overreach.
No. Like, fucking, again, like, fuck you and your fucking lies. Because that's all they ever do. Please allow me time to have Zoom. No, fucking no. Why would anyone want to have a Zoom call to be taken out of context by some lying cunt on the internet? Which again, Amy down here, I know she's called it a night. Was like, what Wells notices? You're looking
Yeah,
for
I also
resolutions, but
responded
don't
to
even
her.
know what's going on. We're charged, yeah. Didn't tell Byron that part, huh? Yeah, she didn't tell him fucking anything because she knew if she got caught, like that's what he'd say. Like, they're already going after the criminals, but they're not the criminals. Like they're the cult leaders that they're going after, and the cult doesn't like that their cult leaders are the one that's being found to be the criminals. Sorry, reality has come down on that one. I then joked, I think, with Amy. I don't know if I posted to you that because, you know, Byron here, as he said, is running for Florida governor against James Fishback. And I joked that James is going to immediately, within 24 hours, talk about his support for the MMTLP.
Oh my God.
That was my joke.
That's so funny. Yeah.
But
then he'll pretend like
all of the streams cross.
That is funny.
And there's been a lot of these MMTLP people and other people that were Pulte adjacent promoting James Fishback, which, as we've talked about on here, is a scumbag, liar, and grifter. And, you know, but since he has affiliations with Bill, like all these fucking meme stock grifters have been promoting him, like not heavily. I think some of them know that it would be a poison pill to associate with him in any vigorous manner, but there have been people doing it. Never mind the fact that his voter registration is in the District of Columbia, which means he can't even run for governor. He's making fake posts about how IHOP DM'd him, even though they don't follow each other on Instagram. And that had to do with, what we're going to get into, really funny. And that he, you know, refused to disavow Nick Fuentes' affiliation with him. Sorry, but what happened is now finally a senator in the state of Florida has caught on to Fishback's game, and this sparked something that was pretty funny.
I think if you're collecting thousands of taxpayer dollars and donor dollars in Florida, you're committing fraud and theft, knowing full well that you have no either intention or ability to qualify for a race. I think there's a guy, Fish Sack or something like that, whatever, who's not going to perhaps not be able to qualify under the 7-year requirement for citizenship or for residency. I think we need to vet these people out. People used to run locally, collect 50, 60 grand, pay the $1,500 fine, and pocket.
Naturally, James Fishback's response to the reasonable concerns of a sitting Florida state senator is to start a harassment campaign, because sure, why the fuck not? It did continue on because it was pretty funny. I guess Fishback's post here, but this was a joke because he got the Waffle House menu because James Fishback got banned from Waffle House for doing what he did at Disney and a bunch of these other places. Uninvited, decided to host a political rally there, and the owners rightfully told him to fuck off. And so he has the fucking Waffle House menu, and then James Fishback, being the snide little turd he is, tried to suggest that, he must have stole the menu. Let me see if that one's here. I guess it's not anymore. But James Fishback was trying to suggest that the senator stole the menu. Here it is. You literally stole a menu from a Waffle House for a photo op. And he said, nope, the manager offered it to me for free. And he gave a $40 tip to the person at the register. But it's funny how all this stuff kind of like folds in on itself, and so some such. Let me see here. I want to see if there was anything else. No, I don't want to really deal with that. Oh, did you see this?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Surprisingly enough, unlike the Ryan Cohen one, the only person who ran out to defend Pulte was PP, and he got completely just whapped. But I think that really shows you like how unlikable Bill is, that he can get roasted like this and literally no one will come to his defense. Not even his own followers. It's really kind of fucking sad. But yeah, I'm gonna keep this bookmarked forever because of just how fucking on the nose accurate it is. Well, I mean, some of it is a little off, but only because that the person who made the post was nicer than they should have been. But, and like even the finance community knows that he's kind of a shitbag. So, there is that. I don't know if you had anything else to add to that.
Oh, no. Just who cares about Plute? It's actually very peaceful not caring about him. Or not having him just like chirping about meme stocks.
Everything. Right. He's just chirping about how much he would like to, constantly fillet Donald Trump now instead.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Which I can ignore easily. Did I look, speaking of Jake the Gish Galloper, he posted yet another hour-long video of nonsense for which I doubt you listened to. I certainly fucking didn't.
Remember last week I explained what was going on in, I don't know, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you can't explain something simply, then you just don't understand it.
Especially when it's not anything particularly complicated, like this whole leveraged buyout. Like,
and then he said his point was that there was no LBO. Like, what?
So that you spent 1 hour just to say that there was.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! See, this is why I'm so glad I spend almost literally no time on Jake. It definitely.
I spent 0 minutes. I just read the replies and.
And you got the idea.
Well, yeah, because then he's replying and he's like, "Okay, so you get what I'm saying, that there was no LBO. That's what I said." It's like, what is the point of this song?
Oh my!
Who cares?
We did learn. We did learn that apparently. Let me see here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to AMC Lawsuits.
Wow, he is really soft in this.
Hello,
video.
everybody, and welcome to AMC Lawsuits and Justice Project.
Usually he is super fucking loud. Let me see if I can boost this without blowing out my eardrums.
On this game channel, my name is Ethan.
Can you hear him?
March 3rd, 2026, 8:52 p.m.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
Those who I've been in contact with, either through text, email, or calling, you should know by now. Last week, the board voted to allow Dawn Alba to finally speak freely to Leslie Akins, and it was scheduled to speak last week Thursday. Ms. Akins fell under the weather, and it didn't happen. And I was scheduled to also speak to Ms. Akins on Friday, with regards to the proposal of me flying to California to sit with her one-on-one to go over the documents. I presented the proposal to her staff, and at the end of the day, yesterday, I spoke to Ms. Akins, and once again, I presented the proposal, and she said it's a smart idea. Some people recommended staying in New York and doing it via Zoom. My gut feeling was to go fly there, sit with her one-on-one, and completely go over the documents. After speaking to her yesterday, and she said it's a smart idea, I am planning to book the flight tomorrow. I plan to go for 2 days, for the 11th and the 12th. Hopefully we'll get a lot of things done.
So Wednesday and Thursday.
So with that said,
so yeah, Ethan is going to. I feel like this is going to lead nowhere fast, but hey, I guess progress. It's moving along. Speaking of which, there's some apparently financing of the Odeon notes. Basically refinancing and kicking the debt out. I will say that Vent Capital has a good article basically going over that I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time right now tonight on that. But if you wanted to read his article, basically what he said is that this is not good. It's basically them, again, kicking the can on the debt. They're moving maturities back and hopefully to give them a longer runway for theaters, the situation in theaters to improve. But like this is not actually particularly good. Even with the discount, they're just pushing back the debt, and it's not helping AMC in the slightest. never fear though. Even though AMC's situation is not getting any better, Investor Turf says that it's a good squeeze opportunity. So, yeah, sure. Like, did you even know this was a thing? Apparently, he has a squeezer tool. I'm surprised he's not charging for it, considering what a fucking grifter he is. But sure, I guess whatever. But yeah, that pretty much wraps that up and moves us on to stupid tweet of the week. Do you happen to have something for us, Platinum?
No. Let me look.
This one I have is actually a find that I did already post, but I think it's really good. I like it. So while you're finding it, I'm going to put up mine. Let me get things situated here so I can get the poll ready. Oops, I didn't want to do that. So 1 second here. Let me get the poll situated, and then I will be good to go. All right. Poll is up. So my stupid tweet of the week.
Oh my god.
Oh man. So this is in response to Candace Owens. If you want to know the level of crazy we're doing here, Michael posted this, that butterflies are a pedophile symbol, and that one, like down there, like we can get into that here. It's this. That's that thing there. Okay, just so we're clear on that. Oh wait, did not? Yeah, that thing. But I think that this is really awkward, considering the whole DK butterfly and using butterflies as like their little like group symbol. Are you trying to say something there, Michael? Are you trying to say something about the Bed Bath and Beyond community? Are you trying to say something about you and your friends? Just, you know, just let us know if you're trying to say something. But I think the conclusion clearly here is that, you know, they're just, according to Michael's even own words, that they're just a group of pedophile lovers. So there you go.
Jesus. Okay, hold on. Let's share this one. So this is George Palikaris writing in Morse code, and it stands for "Welcome to the End Game."
Why would you do that? What?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody knows. It's provocative. It's meant to.
Sure, it's provocative with people with like room temperature
But
IQ
guess what?
scores.
Hold on. This wasn't even his only one. There was actually two. So then there was this one too that says "I SEC you."
Oh my god.
Whatever that means.
He's trying to be all fucking cutesy. Whatever. Sure. Cool. All right, well, we'll give some time to let the votes trickle in. I know you didn't have a lot of thoughts on the whole merger acquisition thing. Did you have anything that you wanted to end the show with, maybe, though?
Well, I mean, I agree with Running with Bears, where I am hoping that they do something that is GameStop related, right? Not some random, shit, whatever. Like, I want it to be gaming related. I do prefer it be PC gaming related, because I feel like that's something that they're not really even into at all. Where
Corsair,
kind of, yeah, like I like that.
Awesome. Well, we'll let the votes trickle in. Of course, we've got our Twitch vote that has yet to come in yet. We actually had a pretty good running. Like, there for a while, we had more than Rubbing My Axe watching. It's amazing. For noises. Yes, victory!
Come on, but the Morse code, and then there was two. Come on, he's literally being sued by the SEC and writing "I SEC you" in Morse code. What?
Yeah, you got the YouTube to where you were one ahead of me, but not only did I get the
Aw.
Twitch vote, that's the tie-breaking vote. Ah, back on top, baby.
Oh yeah, PP saying he was chosen by God. I totally forgot about that one.
Wait, what? That happened today? Like this week?
That happened this week, yeah. Oh
my
man.
goodness. Oh, wow. How did I miss that? That would have been a winner. That would have been a winner. Yeet.
Yeah, I vote for them.
Wait, what? Wait, how did I fucking miss that? Like, I knew that, you know, Adam Aaron being Jewish was eventually going to roll up onto Michael's radar, but wow.
Oh dear.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go find that now, because that's like, wow. Michael for being sectioned for the safety of himself and others. Sounds like a plan. Anyway, lots of good options. I didn't mean to click that, but yes, I agree. So that'll do it for us this week. We'll let you know what our plans are for next week. I got some ideas rolling around. We'll see what we commit to, or we'll just, you know, have more crazy people like we ended the show with. Who knows? It's always a surprise every week. But we'll catch you around. It was nice having you folks. We'll see you